Counsel for movement, on behalf of relator, you may proceed with your evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a few quick housekeeping items, I think.
Sure.
First of all, Your Honor had requested the judgment in the Kevin Strickland.
Yes.
If I may approach.
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sure no objection to the court receiving this?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
And then also, Your Honor, you had previously requested exhibit binders from the Attorney General and Circuit Attorney.
That is correct. Well, you're already in the running behind if that's your exhibit binder. Yeah, good luck on getting me to look at all that. This one right here is going to be tough enough.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, well, this is the way to do it. Look up here. This is the way to do it when you give a judge an exhibit back. So as exhibits are discussed, I can just flick to it. That's going to make me work a little harder. I don't know what you're going to get. Here you go. Now give it to me here, please. You don't mind? Oh, let's see. I gotta manage this thing. Tell you what, as you go through the case, counsel for Attorney General's office, just always give me a moment to try to find your exhibits. It's going to be a little bit harder. Oh, cut that thing off. It's going to be a little bit harder than the relator because, like I said, they're all tabs. Thank you for doing that. I guess you've done this kind of thing before, huh? Go ahead, Counselor.
Finally, Your Honor, the Attorney General and the Circuit Attorney have a very small number of stipulations. It's just these 5 paragraphs on a single page.
Approach.
All right. Do you want me to read them into the record, or would you just like to?
That'd probably be the best one.
Okay. All right. And we already spoke and conferred about these this morning, so I think we should all be okay. Number 1, the evidence from Johnson's trial, post-conviction, and habeas corpus proceedings, number 941-3706A, which is his trial, number 3504, which is the post-conviction, number ED 69212, which is the consolidated appeal, number 4:00CV408HEA, which is his federal habeas corpus, number 04CV745399, which is his state habeas, number 04CV746835, which is another state habeas, and number SD26750, which is another state habeas, and then number SC08666, which is a last state habeas, are admissible for purposes of this case. Number 2.
Okay, now understand that, because I wish you always get this warning, when you put in this, essentially a document, do not assume, it would be a mistake to assume that I read it all. All right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Make sure that you reference for the court, and a wise tactic will be to present a photocopy of each page of the transcript that you think is relevant to your argument and the court's decision making.
Of course, Your Honor.
So make sure there be no assumptions that I have read even every page of particularly this big old exhibit book that I just got from the AG's office.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then.
Number 2, Exhibit 1 to the motion to vacate is a true and correct copy of the transcript on appeal for Lamar Johnson's 1995 trial in the death of Marcus Boyd. The Bates numbering and highlighting are not original to the transcript.
I have no problem with that as long as it's easy referencing for me, or if I have the pages, which would be even better. I don't know, I keep getting, can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can you, my volume might be a little too high on this thing.
Reverb.
Yeah. See if you can get the volume down a little bit there for me. The other way.
Try it.
That sounds a lot better. Go ahead, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Number 3, Exhibit 18 to the motion to vacate is a true and correct copy of the transcript of Lamar Johnson's 1996 Rule 29.15 proceedings in the death of Marcus Boyd. The Bates numbering is not original to the transcript. Number 4, Leslie Williams knew Lamar Johnson before the homicide. Number 5, Johnson noticed an alibi defense at his 1995 trial. So not a lot there, Your Honor, but we wanted to read those in. And if I may, Your Honor, we're ready to call our first witness.
You may proceed.
The Circuit Attorney calls James Howard.
James Howard?
Yes. As we're waiting, Your Honor, do you mind if I do anything to reposition this towards the witness?
None at all.
Thank you.
You ever hear of an attorney named Willie Gary?
No, Your Honor.
Look him up one day. I created that for him in a big trial, difficult trial that we had. I'm a hardcore trial lawyer at heart, and I've always eschewed podiums as a trial lawyer. So I never had one in here until Willie Gary came in. Look him up, and you'll understand why.
I will, Your Honor. And I might roam around a little bit as we go along, but I'm trying to stay by the
The
microphone.
well is yours, Counselor.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. It's my understanding, Judge, he's on the way down.
All right.
Because he's a prisoner, he has restraints, and it's taking a little
Now,
time.
when you say on the way down, how much time am I looking at?
No more than about 2-3 minutes.
All right. And we can all stare each other down for 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, no, we can talk some housekeeping too, Your Honor.
All right,
I was
go ahead.
thinking that you see we have these big poster boards over there.
Yes,
I'm probably thinking the best place for you, if I want to show them the witnesses over there.
Yes, if you want to work with witnesses, you are correct over there. Now keep in mind, camera's angle is secondary.
Yeah.
Try not to block camera angle, however. They're working very hard to get stable. And I might be a little biased in this stuff because my wife is sort of in the industry.
Okay.
And, some judges probably wouldn't let them in at all. So,
I'm going to try my best to thread the needle on all this.
All right. And incidentally, if you want, you could also go dead center of the well, and you can have your witness step down if you wish.
That would be great, Your Honor. I wasn't sure how you would feel about that.
Yes,
since he
dead center might be a little better.
Okay.
And I don't have any problem with the witness stepping down. And I give you all permission, just as you need your witness to step down, just have your witness step down.
And with this witness, Your Honor, obviously he is incarcerated, so just wanted to flag that. Okay.
And I have some very good deputies. They're very well armed. I'm not worried about it. I'm assuming this is your real-time reporter over here?
Not our judge.
Who's real-time? Okay, gotcha.
So how are you, Judge?
Oh, very, very happy that there were so many citizens who came in just to watch me try a hearing.
It is great.
I didn't know I was that popular until today. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, should I sign photos? You know, should
It's always great when the public's involved.
yeah, they need to, wish people were more involved, to be honest with you.
I think I hear him, Judge.
Come again?
I think I hear him.
Oh, okay.
Raise your right hand, that's what. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Will you give your name to the court reporter? Come over.
While the witness is being seated, I have a question for you.
Yes, Judge.
Is there any relevance to the matter from Lamar Johnson versus A.L. Lubers?
I'm not aware of the name. A.L. Lubers. Your Honor, do you happen to have a case number there?
Yes. Looks like it might be federal. 4:00-CV-408-LMV, which is almost certainly a federal
Yes.
designation.
So that, yes, I believe that was one of his federal habeas cases,
Okay.
and that was on the list that we just read off in the stipulation.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I just didn't recognize the warden.
That's all right. Counselor, could you have your witness turn this way? I know it's probably, the cameras are interesting, but actually coming this way is much more appropriate. Counselor, you may inquire.
Thank you, Judge. Could you please state your name for the record, please?
James Howard.
Mr. Howard?
Is he mic? Is his mic hot? Test your mic. Okay, you need to get closer to the mic, sir. Speak up as much as you can. Go ahead, Counselor.
All right, can we try this again? Could you please state your name for the record, please?
James Howard,
All right. How old are you, Mr. Howard?
46.
Where do you currently reside?
Lecky, Missouri, and SCC.
Okay.
Lecky, Missouri, SCCC.
Did
You
you
want me to
say
try that?
Lincoln, Missouri?
Licking.
Licking, oh, you're in the
Yeah.
prison at Licking,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah. Before you were at Licking, Mr. Howard, where did you actually grow up?
South St. Louis,
Okay. Which area of South St. Louis did you grow up in?
the McCreetown neighborhood.
Okay.
McCreetown,
Okay. Do you remember your addresses when you were growing up?
a little bit.
Excuse me?
3944 Louisiana, and 3954 Blaine.
I think you just said 3944 Louisiana. Is that right?
Yes.
Approximately what years did you live at 3944 Louisiana Avenue?
Like from like 90 to like 96, 97 in that area.
All right. And so what year were you actually born, Mr. Howard?
77.
Okay. So that would have been about beginning when you were 13 years old?
Probably.
Okay. And so can you kind of explain to the court a little bit where 3944 Louisiana Avenue is in South City?
Around the corner from Marquette Park, Marquette Swimming Pool.
Okay. And yeah, Mr. Howard, I'm actually having trouble hearing you too.
Marquette, around the corner from Marquette Swimming Pool in a park.
Okay. Do you think we can even get the microphone closer to him somehow? Okay. Yeah. I'm really sorry. Just to the best you can, if you can just kind of lean in the way I'm doing right now. All right.
Should be one that says witness. You see it.
What do you remember about your neighborhood when you were growing up on Louisiana?
It was a little quiet then. It was quiet back then.
And do you remember what your parents' house looked like?
Yes.
Could you kind of just describe what it looked like to the court?
It had a blue door and a what you call it, a storm door.
Okay.
Glass storm door.
Did your parents rent or own that home?
I think they was renting.
Okay. Where was that home situated on the street?
Like by the alley.
Okay. And I'm going to actually, if you excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to grab a poster board for us. Give me 1 moment. All right, can you see that poster board that I have up there?
Yes.
I tried to blow it up pretty big. Hopefully you can see it from where you are. All right. Do you recognize the home in
Yes.
that picture?
3944.
All right. So that's your parents' home where you grew up?
Yes.
And actually, no, strike that. So you were talking about an alley that was by the home.
That's it, straight right there.
All right. If I'm looking at this photograph right now, like the court is right now, when you're talking about the alley, what part of the picture is that on?
To the right.
All right.
Yes.
Anything right here?
Yes.
Okay. And then if I'm looking at the picture right now as well, do you see, is there a sidewalk right there?
In front, yes.
Okay. And so what's that road that was going parallel with that sidewalk?
From right here.
Yeah.
It's the sidewalk and then the alley. It's
Yeah.
like a drive.
Maybe I'll ask this a different.
What street is this
This is
residential?
Louisiana.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So Louisiana is going this way.
Yes,
right
sir.
there. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What else do you remember about this house?
It used to have to the right. It had a white garage, a big white garage to this side on the right.
Okay. And what is there a back?
I'm sorry, could you talk from, when you say on the right, do you mean across that alley?
Yes, across on the alley. In the alley was a garage right there.
Is there a back door to the house?
Yes,
Okay. Is there a backyard?
yes.
All right. All right. So let's move away from the house for just a moment. Could you kind of describe to the court what was your childhood like? We'll get there in a second.
I'll give him a little leeway.
I was a problem child, you could say.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you get in trouble with the police when you were,
Yes,
before you were 18?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever spend any time in DYS?
Yes.
All right.
Twice.
Okay. Did you have a nickname when you were growing up?
Badass.
Could you say that a little bit louder?
BA.
BA?
Yes.
And what did BA stand for?
Badass.
Who gave you that nickname?
My brother, it used to be called a lot from my grandmothers and people like that, and then my brother, he just brought it out the house, so it just got caught on.
So why did he choose to call you badass?
Because I was a bad person, bad child.
Okay. When you were growing up, did you know Lamar Johnson?
Yes.
How did you know Lamar?
We used to skip school at his house. He stayed down the stairs from my friend, Anthony Cooper. He stayed down the stairs on Lafayette and 39.
How old were you when you first met Lamar?
Probably around 13, 14, 15 in that area.
Okay. What did your parents do for a living back in 1994?
My father was an LPN and my mother was a registered nurse.
Okay. Were you also employed at that time?
Not until like 96, 90s, in that area.
So, before you were employed, what did you do to make money?
I sold drugs.
How did you get involved in selling drugs?
That's what was going on in my neighborhood at the time.
Okay. How old do you think you were when you first started selling drugs?
Probably like 12 years old.
Were you also ever involved in any robberies?
Here and there.
Okay. Did you ever use weapons in those robberies?
Yes.
How old were you when you committed your first robbery?
Maybe 14 years old, maybe.
Okay. Looking back, how dangerous was your lifestyle back then?
Very.
Did you say very?
Very.
Okay. Had you ever been injured as part of the life you were leading?
Yes.
How were you injured?
Shot multiple times.
And what age
Get a
were
little farther field now.
Okay. I promise, Your Honor.
All right.
Did Lamar Johnson also deal drugs?
I didn't hear your answer very well.
Did he deal drugs? Probably so, yes.
Okay.
We all
Hold
did.
on, you said probably so.
Yes, we all
Did you
sold
know?
drugs. I would guess that's what our neighborhood was doing.
Well, I can't give that anyway, so.
That's fine, Your Honor. So how old were you in 1994?
Probably 17, 16.
Were you still living at home at that time?
That's home, but that's not, that's where my parents reside at, and I keep my things there, but I don't just stay there. But I'm always welcome home, that's home.
Where did you stay if you weren't at your parents' house?
Various girlfriends and things of that nature.
Were you still welcome back at home?
All the time.
Would you go back home and stay there for periods of time?
Yes.
How long would you stay there?
Like 2-3 days, rest up or something.
At that time, did you know someone named Marcus Boyd?
Yes, just not personally, but I knew of him through a friend of mine.
Okay. Had you ever spoken with Marcus Boyd? Did you know what he looked like?
Yes.
Okay. How did you know who Marcus Boyd was?
Through my friend Saron Spates.
Okay.
Saron Spates.
It's S-I-R-O-N-E space S-P-A-T-E-S. Is that right, Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe the nature of Saron and Marcus Boyd's relationship?
I think while I was locked up, they was hustling a little bit together.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
While I was incarcerated, they were hustling a little bit together.
When you say they were hustling a little bit together, what do you mean?
Selling drugs.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Spates, Saran Spates.
Yes.
So who was Saran Spates to you?
Puffy, my best friend.
Okay. And you said he had a nickname?
Yes.
What that nickname was?
Puffy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who's that? Whose nickname was Puffy?
Puffy.
Whose nickname was Puffy?
Saran.
Saran?
Yes.
You don't know how to spell Saran's first name by any chance?
Sirone.
S-I-R-O-N. And Saran's last name is?
Spates, S-P-A-T-E-S.
Say that again?
S-P-A-T-E-S.
S-P-A-T-E-S, Spates. Okay, Saran Spates was nicknamed Puffy.
Yes.
Got it. Go.
Now, you were previously describing to the court one time that you were shot, right?
Yes.
Who was with you when you were shot?
Saran.
Okay. Let's go back to Marcus Boyd for a second. Do you know where Marcus Boyd lived back in 1994?
Yes.
Where did he live?
Up the street.
Okay. When you say up the street, what do you mean by that?
Up the street on the side, the same side as my mother and them stayed.
Okay. Was it on the same block as your parents?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what the address was?
No.
Okay. Are you able to picture your old block right now?
A little bit.
Okay. If you were facing out the front door of your house, what we're looking at right now, which way was it, direction-wise, to Marcus Boyd's house?
To the right.
Okay. And let's also just talk. Let's talk a little bit about Louisiana, where you were. Do you remember what the cross streets were around Louisiana Avenue?
Osage and Keokuk.
Okay, Osage and Keokuk?
Uh-huh.
Which way was Keokuk?
To the right if I'm standing out that door.
Okay. And which way was Osage?
To the left.
All right. I'm going to put up another.
Do you have miniature copies of those exhibits for the court?
I can give you miniature copies right now.
Yeah, that would be, make deliberations a lot easier.
There you go, Judge.
Thank you, counsel.
Right now, I'm just using this.
No, I'm fine.
All right. All right. Do you see this, what I'll call an aerial view of over here on this poster board?
Somewhat.
Can you see it from where you are?
Not that well.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may? Or you can have, if you want, you can have him come down to the,
Yeah.
rather than carrying that thing around.
I would appreciate that, Your Honor.
Yeah. Go on down there to the thing and then talk about it from there.
Yeah.
Everybody speak up now. Everybody speak loudly.
All right. Can you read everything a little bit better now? All right. Do you see where Louisiana Avenue is? All right. And you see that there's a little red dot on it. And you see it says 3944 Louisiana Avenue right there.
Hey, I'm sorry, could you speak up a little louder?
And is that the location of your parents' house? Okay. So, can you show the court which direction it was to go to Marcus Boyd's house from your parents' house? Just so you can show up, down, left, right.
Is that exhibit, can it be marked? Can that exhibit be marked?
I'm actually planning to mark it, Your Honor.
All right.
Yeah, I've got markers right here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to draw. Is this your parents' house right here? Right here? Okay, I'm just going to fill it in. All right. And I've just filled in a box there. Does that show where your parents' house was back in 1994? Okay. All right. I'm going to have you come back down here in probably 1 second. I just want to grab something for you. Actually, I can even do it right now. I think earlier you said you didn't specifically remember the address that Mr. Boyd was at. Do you remember previously executing an affidavit back in 2002? Okay.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, here, why don't I send you back, just so that, would it be better for you if I get him back to the microphone? And may I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm going to show you a 2-page affidavit. Do you see the signature right there?
Yes,
Whose signature is that?
it's mine.
All right. And then what I want to show you is paragraph 1. You state, on October 30th, 1994, at or around 9 o'clock p.m., Philip Campbell.
Objection, Judge Levine, and this is.
I will stop.
refreshing.
I can even just, I'm happy to do it. I'm literally just interested in the address. Do you have?
Well, I mean, you know, the exhibit speaks for itself. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be introduced in some capacity. There's no need for those objections unless you actually don't like the evidence. There's some real issue with it. Otherwise, only go after documents like that unless you think they're fake documents and you want to go after it on foundation or something.
Well, and Judge, so what he was doing is trying to refresh his recollection on the actual address, which he was not using the proper mechanism for doing that. Second.
I do know that, and I picked that up. Is it important what the actual address is?
Judge, we would object to that. I believe it is his 2004, 2005 affidavit, and if he is offering that to the court as evidence, we would object on a couple of grounds. One, it is hearsay, it's an out-of-court statement offered for the truth. And second, it is bolstering his testimony. As the witness here, the witness can provide testimony to the court, and so for those objections regarding the document, he's going to enter it, we would object. Now, he can refresh his recollection. We don't have an issue with doing that in the proper manner, but we do object to it being offered.
Only on the grounds of hearsay.
Hearsay and improper bolstering of his testimony.
Because, you know, the witness is here to be cross-examined.
The witness is here to be cross-examined, Judge. And
So I'm not going to worry about it. If you have a problem with either the statement or the testimony, cross-examine at will.
thank you, Judge.
Very quick. Does the address 3910 Louisiana Avenue sound right to you?
It sounds familiar.
Overruled.
That sounds familiar.
Mr. Howard, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this. You can't see it right here. I can bring it up if you want, but this is 3910 shown right here.
Objection, fact not in evidence. This witness has not identified that location as 3910 Louisiana.
Well, we'll see if he does. If he doesn't, then,
All right, Mr. Howard, you want to come down here?
I mean,
I'm sorry.
oh, yeah.
Are you able to see the writing here? I was trying to save a trip down here. Can you see 3910 right there? All right. Looking at this, does that look correct to you in terms of the distance between your parents? Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mark this, just so that we can see it. All right. You can go back for now, Mr. Howard.
and incidentally, the correct objection would have been leading. He was marking the exhibit in a manner that was leading the witness. However, since it was fairly marginal, I would have overruled that objection anyway. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Back in 1994, do you know whether Lamar Johnson knew Marcus Boyd?
I don't know.
Objection calls for speculation.
He asked him, does he know? No can come from social interaction as opposed to speculation. So you can cross-examine on the foundation of the word no, if in fact he admits or says that he does know this particular person.
I want to ask you about one more person. Did you also know someone named Philip Campbell?
Yes.
Okay. How did you know Philip Campbell?
From McCree neighborhood.
Can I stop you just a second? Who lives in the Green Mark house?
The Green Mark House is 3910 Louisiana.
Who lives there?
That is where Marcus Boyd lives.
Marcus Boyd.
There is no dispute about that.
I'm marking the exhibit you gave me, the paper exhibit, for my own information. Thank you, counsel. You may continue.
Were you and Philip Campbell friends?
Yes.
Did Mr. Campbell have any nicknames?
Phil Bone. Phil Bone.
Phil Bone, as in B-O-N-E. Mr. Howard,
Yes.
do you know whether Marcus Boyd is alive today?
Yes.
Is he alive or dead?
It's dead.
How did Marcus die?
Me and Philip Campbell killed him on his front porch.
Do you remember
What did he
that
just say? Philip Campbell killed him?
he and Philip Campbell killed him?
So what now?
Could you please say?
Oh, he said he
Yeah.
and Philip Campbell killed him. And then I hear you say on his front porch?
Yes.
Okay, and his front porch is which address?
His front porch. Which address was it again?
It would be 3910.
The house that is Marcus Boyd's residence?
Yes.
Got it. Keep going. All right.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
It's been 28 years, right?
Yes.
Do you still remember the day Marcus died?
I don't remember the exact day, but I verbatim, I remember just about everything that happened that night.
Okay. So, when Marcus Boyd died, how old do you think you were?
17,
And how old are you today?
46.
Are you prepared to tell the court what happened that day to the best of your memory?
Yes.
Can you please tell the court how that day started, Mr. Howard?
It was like at nighttime, me and Saran was in the house making phone calls, smoking weed and drinking a little bit, and he was discussing Marcus about him on for drugs, you know, stuff they was going half on or whatever, and every time they cut up, it was what would be left from the cut up, you know, was they made arrangements, whatever, to sell it, split it, or whatever it was. But anyway, Saran was upset, and he wanted to go up there, you know, and handle business. But he had just got out the hospital. He just didn't get out of the hospital. He had just got a halo taken off his head, and so he still had a neck brace on.
Okay. I want to try and...
I'm sorry, who had the neck brace on?
Saran.
Saran?
Yes.
All right.
I want to try and unpack this.
A.K.A. also known as Puffy.
Yes, yes.
All right.
I want to try
And
and
then just to make sure I get all these folks right, did you tell me that Puffy was the one that was with you when you shot Boyd?
No, sir.
Who was with you again when you shot Boyd?
Philip Campbell.
You and Philip Campbell shot Boyd?
Yes.
All right. Go on with what you were saying. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was.
Hold on. I'll help kind of reorient us if we can, okay? So you said that Mr. Spates, Puffy,
Yes.
was in a neck brace.
Yes.
Why was he in a neck brace?
Because he had recently been shot in his head months prior.
And just is Mr. Spates alive today?
No, he's not.
What happened to him?
He was killed in March '95 on Blaine and Thurman.
How did he die?
Killed in '95 on Blaine
He
and
was
Thurman,
shot.
did you say?
Yes, he was shot multiple times, and I was shot multiple times as well the same day.
Okay. So you said that you were spending time with Puffy, Mr. Spates, correct?
Yes.
Where were you?
In my mother's house on Louisiana.
So is that red house
Yes.
depicted on that map?
Yes.
Okay. Who else was with you at your mother's house that day?
At the time, it was me, him, and Phil.
Okay. Was anyone else there with you?
Well,
You said me, him, and Phil.
Yeah, Philip.
All right.
But later, Cedric and Tiny came over.
Okay. Cedric and Tiny.
They brothers, yes.
And so what's Cedric's full name?
Cedric Cummins,
Okay. What's Tiny's full name?
Robert Cummins.
All right. Let me just stop right there. Was Lamar Johnson with you at your parents' house that day?
Not at all.
Are the Cummings brothers still around?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone that want to testify today?
We've tried to get them to come and testify, but we've had a lot of difficulty tracking them down.
You wouldn't know where they are, would you?
No, sir.
All right, go ahead.
So, you were also talking about Saran and Marcus.
Uh-huh.
Were Saran Spates and Marcus Boyd getting along at that time?
Not at that moment, no.
Okay. Why weren't they getting along?
Because of the drug situation.
How do you know that?
That's my best friend. We talk about things, talk about everything.
All right.
Okay. So you said there was a drug situation. Can you describe to the court what the drug dispute, as you understood it, was?
That every time that they bought something, they cut it up and then they separate, sell it or whatever. But what was remained is when you cut up crack cocaine, it's crumbs that always be from when you cutting up drugs, and it accumulated to a nice little amount or whatever. And so he was upset that Marcus didn't pay him for it, or
Okay.
So the crumbs after the cutting up was stuff that could be sold.
Yes, sir. Yes, he could.
And Marcus did not want to sell it?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
What did he say he wanted to do with it?
No, I don't know what he said he wanted to do with it, but that's what they both fell out about.
Well, what do you think might have been the street value of all of this,
Probably.
from your personal knowledge and experience?
I don't know because I didn't see it personally, but Saran said probably a little over $1,000.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And just to clarify with the crumbs, what were the two things that people could do with crumbs?
I just milled them back down and cut it back up.
Okay. All right. Back then, did you have a lot of money, Mr. Howard?
Back then, not a lot of money, but I was doing okay
Okay. Why did you sell drugs?
to fund my lifestyle.
Okay. How did you know where Marcus Boyd was that day?
When Tiny and Sid came in and they was hearing the discussion, they was like, dude up the street right now.
When you say dude up the street
They
right
was
now?
talking about Marcus.
Okay, they were talking about Marcus.
Yes.
All right. Let me ask you, were you afraid of Marcus Boyd?
No.
Okay. Did he have a reputation as a violent person?
I wouldn't know.
Okay. On that evening, what did you decide to do about the dispute between Saran Spates and Marcus Boyd?
I decided to go up there in this place. Instead of him going up there with a neck brace on, I told him, I'll go up there for you, man. So me and Phil suited up and left the back.
I'm sorry, did you say suited up?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think I know what that means, but I don't want to guess. Tell me what suited up means.
Put on all black clothing and black ski mask
All right.
and left the back of my
Well, why would you suit up?
to go, cause we don't know, we know he up there, but we going to rob, so we don't want his people or his family, anybody to see.
So your
you know.
intent was go up there and rob Boyd?
Yes,
Of what?
or whatever he had, the money, and Saran put it like it was some money in the safe up there.
Some money in the safe?
Yeah,
up
that's
there?
what Saran said, but I'm not for sure, but I'm just.
In
that's
his
what-
house?
Yes,
But you didn't know, but you thought you'd go out there and get it.
yes.
Well, when you got there, what did you do to try to get this money in the safe?
Okay, I'm getting to that, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When we left the back of the house, back of my parents' house, we went up the alley and we came around from the gangway to the front of the house, and Marcus was sitting on the porch, and there was a white guy. He was out there too. He was on the porch too. But when we approached, and I grabbed Marcus and Phil pointed a gun, I think, at the white guy. He went up to the, like, if I'm standing in front of the, if I'm in front of, like, the right side of the porch, he went up, the white guy went to, like, the right side of the porch.
Hold on, the white guy ran up the steps or
Yeah, he
something?
stood up and, like, went to the corner of the right side of the porch.
And at this point in time, you said you had grabbed Marcus?
Yes.
And how were you grabbing Marcus?
I had my left hand on him. I had a revolver in my right hand.
And so you had a revolver in your right hand?
Yes.
And so the thing was to try to hold
Yes.
Marcus and make
Try to
him
take
stay
him
there
up.
with the gun.
Right.
Okay.
Try to take him up the steps.
Let's go from that point.
Yes, that's one. Okay. So the front at the time, his apartment door was open, so light was coming from out of there, and you could hear people upstairs, whatever. But I'm like telling him, like, let's go. You know what time it is. And I tried to get him to go up the steps with me, but he got to wrestling with me. So Philip, he got to trying to handle him with me.
So you and Marcus Boyd in a wrestling match?
Yes.
Well, you got
not
the
hard,
gun.
not a hardcore wrestling match, but he's struggling.
But you got the gun?
Yes, I got a gun, and he's struggling.
And evidently Campbell has a gun.
Yes.
Keep going.
Okay. So he started struggling, and shots started being fired, and I remember.
Well, evidently, from what you told me, before the shots were fired, you never demanded that safe that you thought.
No. I told him, let's go upstairs. I told him, you know what time it was, and I tried to take him into the house, and he started struggling. That's
right.
We never got to this.
So you never got to the safe.
Yeah, we never got to
because
that
of the
point.
struggle.
Yes, there we go.
And the struggle resulted in
Him being shot.
both of you shooting the guy?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do you remember where he shot him?
Yes, I do. Philip was firing like in his side, and I had like his head bent forward, and I had shot, and then I remember cocking the gun the second time.
Well, I remember. My question really was, do you remember what part of
The back of his
Mr.
head,
Boyd's body
like the
was
back,
shot in?
like the back of his neck and head area.
Back of his neck and
Yeah,
head area?
yes,
All
yes.
right. And did you notice by any chance where Mr. Campbell's bullets hit?
I just remember him having this gun like to the side of his body.
Side of his body?
Yes, like to
Gotcha.
pressed to his side.
All right. Keep going.
And once those shots was fired or whatever, we looked up, and the white guy was still standing in the corner, and shit. We was like, let's go. So we went right back the way we came.
So the white guy was standing in the corner.
Yes.
You knew the white guy had seen everything.
Yes.
You didn't fire a shot at the white guy.
He wouldn't know who we were.
Say that again?
He wouldn't know who we were.
I'm sorry.
He wouldn't recognize a know who
You
we
thought
were.
he wouldn't recognize you or know you
I'm positive he would.
because of the mask.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
So you said leave him alone.
Yes.
He can't say nothing about
Right,
it.
right.
Gotcha. Okay, go ahead.
And then we went back down the alley how we came, and went to like when we got to the backyard of my parents' house. I remember wrapping, I think, both guns in my ski mask, and I went. It's like,
Did you have any blood on you?
not that I know of, and I remember going through like the walkway through from the back of the house to, it's like a Christmas tree that sits like to the right of the next door neighbor's house, and it goes all the way down to the ground. It has like a little brush to it, and I put the guns up under there and covered it up, and then
Like a tree, like a Christmas tree, like it's a pine tree.
yes, like
Got it.
yes,
You say the tree is by the neighbor's house?
Yes.
So over a little bit this
yes.
way?
So did you go through some sort of gangway at that point?
Yes, from the back of my mother's and them house.
All right.
All right. And I put them under there, then I went back down to the basement, and I took the stuff off I had, I threw it in the washer, and I think I threw some detergent, a little bleach in there, and then I went back upstairs, and I relayed the surround what just had happened. And from there, I think,
Now, did Campbell put his clothes in this washer?
yes,
All right.
yes. All the black clothes.
So
they
what
kind-
did he put back on?
No, he had clothes on. These were jogging clothes and stuff. This is stuff that was already at my house.
Oh, okay.
From
So
my
when you
neighborhood.
guys
Yeah, my neighborhood is called.
got together to go do it, He took off his,
Yes, listen, just hear me out. My neighborhood is called Dockside, right? So I got a lot of clothes. Damn near everything I own is black, you know. So when it black, got a lot of black jogging pants, jogging sweatshirts, all this type of stuff. It's good for that nature, being out at night all night. So I really want, so I could blend in, cause we cut all our street lights off, so you can't see nothing. So, but that's just where this comes from. That's the black clothing. He got it from my home. So all he had to do was just pull it off and throw that in there too. So, and we went back upstairs and had a little conversation about what went on. Then,
you realized a moment ago you said you threw the clothes into the washer, you threw in some dishwater, some
Yes,
powder, and you said, quote, and a little bleach.
Yes.
And yet they're all black.
yes,
You see the problem there?
I don't see no problem.
All right, then I keep going.
Yes, you know, bleach cleans everything. Like you got something with it or wrong with it. I'm not trying to like preserve no clothes or nothing. I'm trying to clean up something that a mistake I don't made or wrong that I don't commit.
understand.
Your Honor, do you mind if I back up a little bit?
You can back up a lot there.
Thank you, Judge. I want to go back. Let's just backpedal completely from Marcus Boyd's house right now. We were just talking about the black clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you had the black clothes at your house, correct?
Lots of black clothes.
What about the mask? Where did you get the mask from?
Out of the wall inside my house. 'Cause I keep some. I got a couple of those too.
Okay. Where did you buy the mask?
From a Chinese shop on Cherokee.
Okay. Could you describe the mask to the court?
It's just like a ninja style mask where it's nothing open but your eyes.
Okay.
Why did you buy the mask? What was
This is not. I mean, I do a lot of things, and so I need stuff like that. Living the life I live, I need stuff like that.
So you bought them for the purpose, you don't have to tell me what criminal acts.
Yes.
But you bought them for the purpose of carrying out criminal
Yes,
acts.
pretty much.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. And I think you said you were wearing all black.
Yes,
What was Philip Campbell wearing?
all black as well.
Okay. Was Philip Campbell also wearing a mask?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you decide to bring a weapon with you?
If I'm going to do something, I'm always take a gun everywhere I go. I usually have a gun everywhere I go anyway, so. I keep a gun anyway everywhere I go, so pretty much if I'm going to do something wrong, I'm going to have a gun with me. And especially if I'm talking about robbing someone, I most definitely need a gun because that's pretty much just going to help you get what you want.
What do you mean by it's going to help you get what you
I
want?
mean, no one's going to be just moved by you just saying, give me anything. Now, a gun, just persuasion is going to get a person to get some act right.
Could you remind the court what type of gun you decided to bring?
A throwaway, a 38.
Okay. Did you have other guns?
Yes.
Why didn't you bring a different type of gun?
Because a revolver, that's, it don't leave no, a revolver, I know it don't leave no shell casing. Plus, with me too, I just know with me, I feel safe with a revolver when I'm on a mission like this because I know a revolver won't jam.
Okay.
Do you know what Campbell was carrying?
A 25 automatic.
Do you remember the exact time you left your parents' house?
No, I do not.
And I should ask, is all this was going on, were your parents at home?
No, not at all.
So, I just want to make sure that we're perfectly clear. When you exited your parents' house,
Yes.
who was with you?
Just me and Phil.
Was Lamar Johnson there?
No.
Who stayed at your parents' house when you and Philip Campbell left?
Sid, Tiny, and Saran.
Okay. When you left your parents' house, was it daytime or nighttime?
It was night.
Okay. What door did you use when you left your parents' house?
The back basement door.
Okay. Why didn't you use the front door?
In my mother's homes, I never used the front door. I mean, it's just something I just don't do.
Why didn't you want to use the front door at your mother's home?
I mean, I never use my mother's front doors. It's just because I don't want nobody to see where I'm going. If I'm coming and going from my mother's house, I don't want to burn my mother's house up.
What do you mean by you don't want to burn your mother's
I
house
mean,
up?
get our house hot or letting anybody know where my loved ones stay at.
Were you afraid she might be in danger?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. As you were walking out the door, the back door of your parents' house, did you plan to kill Marcus Boyd that night?
That was not the plan.
What did you want to accomplish when you were leaving?
Robbery and
So when you walked out the back door,
Be careful about backing up and simply repeating what I already asked.
yes, Your Honor.
'Cause we don't have that kind of time.
Absolutely. I think this might be a helpful exercise, what I'm right about to do, Judge. Can you draw for the court the direction that you went to get to Marcus Boyd's house?
Well, he did say up the alley.
Okay. If
He
you
went down he said he went down, once he got up by the house, he went down the gangway, came around the front of the house, which point in time Marcus Boyd was sitting on the porch. Did I state that correctly?
yes.
Okay.
I got it.
I'm glad, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So, I want to get another diagram out. Do you recognize the house in this photograph?
Yes.
Whose house is that?
Let the record reflect that it's plaintiff 16. Go ahead.
Yes, that's the house right there. That Marcus was sitting on that front porch there, and the white guy was sitting there too.
Can you tell the court when you approached the front porch, which direction did you come from?
Came out of this side here, this gangway right here off this side.
Okay, as we face the home, would that be the gangway to the left there?
If I'm to right, all right, yeah, right. Where I'm facing is the left. If I'm this way, it's the right.
All right, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
This one right here?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was no fence there at the time.
I'm sorry, what?
There was no fence there at the time either.
Yeah, are you saying, and I will, this photograph, you're saying the fence did not
Yeah,
exist
it
there
did not
back in
exist.
1994?
No.
This is a newer photograph that's happened since then.
Objection, leading.
That,
Overruled.
all right. When you got to the steps, did you recognize the white guy?
No, I don't know who he is.
Okay. And I'm trying to skip over a lot of the ground you covered, Your Honor. Who, to the best of your memory, who shot first, you or Philip Campbell?
To be honest with you, I really don't know. It could have been Phil, could have been me. I just know where I ended up shooting him at. Where I ended up firing my shots.
All in all, how long were you and Philip Campbell on Marcus Boyd's porch?
Man, seconds, maybe 30, 40 seconds at the most. And that's a lot of time saying that.
And I'm going to skip over everything I think we've covered, Your Honor. Then you went back to your parents' house, you said.
Yes.
Who was at your parents' house when you arrived?
Saran, Cedric, and Tyne.
Okay. And you've talked about the gun, you've talked about the clothes, I'm going to skip over those. When you got back to your parents' house, had an ambulance or police arrived yet at Marcus Boyd's house?
Not yet.
Okay. How long do you think it took you to get back to your parents' house?
Shit, seconds.
Seconds?
Yes.
To the best of your memory, how many seconds do you think it took?
Maybe a minute, if that long.
Okay. So, throughout all the facts that you just described to the court today, was Lamar Johnson ever present with you the day that Marcus Boyd died?
No, he was not.
I'm a little curious. Both of you have guns on Boyd. You went to Boyd for the purpose of stealing something.
Yes.
Boyd's a little bit of a problem. He doesn't give in right away. Why shoot without getting anything? Why not just leave? You're in mask, everything else.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question, but once again, it was in a moment, and once gunshots. I mean, that's a good question, and again, it's the heat of the moment. Things are tense. Man, emotions are high, and things happen, man. Things happen, and it happened fast. I mean, like I said, it wasn't planned. It wasn't premeditated at all. It's just something that happened, man. That's all I can tell you.
And could you remind the court, how old were you when this happened?
I was 17.
After Marcus Boyd's death, did the police ever knock on your parents' home to question you about the murder?
No.
Were you ever contacted by any investigators after Mr. Boyd's death?
No, I was picked up a few times, but never just immediately about his death or nothing like that.
And just to clarify, are you saying you were picked up for other crimes or
Yes.
investigations? Okay.
Yes.
What do you know? Actually, strike that. Did you hear what happened to Lamar Johnson with respect to the Marcus Boyd homicide?
Yes.
What do you remember hearing?
I think it was like, I don't know how many days later, but I know they had locked him up and Philip up, and so I just knew that.
Were you incarcerated yourself when you heard that they had locked Lamar Johnson up
No.
for the killing of Mr. Boyd?
No.
So you were free on the streets at that
Yes.
time?
Yeah. After the Marcus Boyd murder, how much longer were you a free man on the streets?
Maybe like 3.5 years.
Okay. When you heard that Lamar Johnson had been arrested for the Boyd homicide, did you take any action to come forward?
No, I did not.
Why didn't you come forward?
Because for one, I'm young at the time. I don't want to turn myself in for nobody's murder. And then for two, I didn't think they would convict him because shit it had nothing to do with it.
Did you communicate at all with Lamar Johnson before his trial date?
No.
Did you later learn what happened to Mr. Johnson at his trial?
Yes, I did.
And so, what did you learn?
I learned that he had got convicted of it and received a life sentence.
At that point, did you decide to come forward and fix it?
No, I did not. But from my understanding, him and Philip was already trying to get this going with what they have going now. They was already, speaking on this before I even...
Stop a minute. I think I understand what you're saying, but I need a little clarity in the record.
Meaning they was already putting things together with my names and things in it, so, saying that what I have done. And first, I'm going to be honest.
When you said they were putting things together, you mean the police?
No, Lamar Johnson was putting...
Okay, Lamar Johnson was
Yes.
putting things together.
Yeah, he was letting it be known that he didn't do it and that I had done it. And at first...
Lamar Jackson was saying
Johnson.
you had... Johnson, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
That's my fault. Whole other case.
Yes.
Lamar Johnson was saying
Yes.
you had done it.
Yes.
Now, what would make Lamar Johnson say you had done it? He wasn't...
Philip Campbell.
Oh, Philip Campbell told him.
Yes.
All right.
And so they was already discussing me before I even got incarcerated. They was already doing this. And like I said, at first I was pissed off at them, upset, because I'm like, damn, we street people, you know what I'm saying? This ain't what we do. But then I got to thinking, like, shit, if I was sitting in prison for somebody murder that I didn't commit, shit, I would probably do it too. It is what it is.
Did anybody, no, I'll save that one. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you know if Philip Campbell's alive today?
No, I do not. I think I was told that he's not here anymore, I think, yes.
When was the last time you saw Philip Campbell?
It was in, I think, 97 in the old St. Louis City Jail. He was working in the kitchen and I was on my way to the workhouse.
Did you talk to him at all about the case?
For a brief moment. Matter of fact, I think it was 96, not 97, 96. I was on my way to St. Louis City Workhouse, and he was working in the kitchen, and he had told me he was taking a manslaughter plea or something like that.
Okay. So, I think you've testified there were a few years where you were out free.
Yes.
Right. What did you do during that time period?
What did I do? The same things I always done. Except I sold drugs and I worked at a nursing home.
Now, sitting here today, how long have you been incarcerated at this point?
Maybe 26 years.
26 years?
Yes.
What crimes were you convicted of?
Murder, burglary, assaults, a lot of crimes. Just a lot. Home evasion.
When did those occur?
In October 97.
And can you tell the court the sentence that you're currently serving?
A life sentence.
Did you ever reconnect with Lamar Johnson?
The first time I was in Crossroads. I was cellmates with Stanford Morris, and he had received mail from Lamar Johnson, and that's how I got back in tune with him. I'm sitting in there, and he was like, "Man, I just got some mail from Lamar," and I'm like, I was feeling some type of way. Then I told him, like, "Man, tell him, man, if he needs some help with that, man, I'm willing, man, to try to help him out, man." And that's how this started.
Did Lamar Johnson send you a letter at that time?
No, he didn't.
Did Lamar Johnson personally approach you in any way?
No, he didn't.
Okay. And so what year do you think this was?
Maybe 2001 or 2.
Since you've been incarcerated, have you ever spent time in the same prison as Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you serve time together?
In Charleston, Missouri.
Approximately what year was that?
2003 and 4, I think.
How did it make you feel to be around Mr. Johnson?
I avoided him.
Why did you avoid him?
Because, I didn't like seeing that. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I used to skip school at his house and stuff like that, man. He was my friend. He was a good friend of mine. And just seeing him, doing time for some stuff he didn't do, it bothered me.
Did you and Mr. Johnson ever talk about his conviction?
Once he told me, man, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And I still avoid him.
How did that make you feel when he told you it wasn't your fault?
I mean,
Overruled.
It bothered me. I mean, it hurt my feelings. It bothered me.
When was the last time you and Mr. Johnson were together in the same prison?
Maybe 2005 or 6.
How long has it been since you've seen Mr. Johnson in person?
Since then.
So about 17 years?
Yes.
Do you remember signing any affidavits in connection with this case?
Yes, in Charleston and in Potosi.
Okay. Did you write those affidavits yourself?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you know who wrote the affidavits?
I know Dan wrote one. I don't know who wrote the other ones.
You said Dan?
Yes.
Who was Dan?
A
private investigator, I believe.
All right. Were those affidavits written in your own words?
No.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you read them over?
Not for real. To be honest, I was just trying to get it out the way and get it taken care of.
Now, when you were signing the affidavits, you were aware that they were under oath, right?
They was high.
That you were signing under oath, right?
Signing under oath?
Yeah. Why did you decide to sign the affidavits?
Because I was trying to right my wrongs that I've done to him. That's pretty much why I was signing.
Mr. Howard, how many times have you and I met?
Maybe 3 times, I believe, maybe 3 or 4 times.
And when was the last time we met?
A couple of days ago.
Okay. During our conversations, do you remember whether I showed you Philip Campbell's affidavit?
Phillips, I don't recall. I don't think
Do you remember if we talked about whether there were any differences between your and Mr. Campbell's recollection?
Yes.
Okay. And did we talk about some of the things that were in Mr.
Yes.
Campbell's affidavit?
Yes.
No. Did you have every opportunity to change your testimony before today so that it would fit with Mr. Campbell's affidavit?
Yes.
Okay. But are you testifying truthfully the best of your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. So, I think I'm almost finished, Your Honor. Mr. Howard, are you here to take the fall for Lamar Johnson?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Do you remember my colleague, Mr. Weiss?
Yes.
You remember we both met with you when we had those meetings?
Yes.
Has Mr. Weiss or myself ever offered you anything in exchange for your testimony?
No.
Has anyone from the Circuit Attorney's office offered you anything in exchange
No.
for your testimony?
No.
Has Lamar Johnson or his lawyers offered you anything in exchange for your testimony?
No.
Has Mr. Johnson's family offered you anything in exchange for your testimony?
No.
Have you been looking forward to testifying today?
I have, and then in the back of my mind, I mean, I was looking forward to trying to get it out the way. Let's put it like that. I'm trying to get this over with and try to fix this.
Is there a reason you're still reluctant to come forward?
Yes, like last night when I was on the phone, and that's the reason why it's just my child, just my daughter, not my son, but it's my daughter I'm worried about. She just feel like never say never, and so this is to her, this is just still in my fate. But at the end of the day, I had no choice.
Did you warn your kids that what they were going to be hearing about today?
No, I tried to avoid this. That's what I'm saying. I was talking to my friend. He said that when he asked her, she kind of got to talking about it, and he was like, "So somebody been talking to her." So this is what I was trying to avoid. Period.
When you say never about your daughter, what do you mean?
She just always got hopes of her father coming home one day.
Does she think that you might get pardoned or something like that
Yeah,
for
just
some random reason?
Yeah, just to let her tell it. Yeah.
And what do you think? What are you afraid of about her reaction?
Because I know that's gonna kill all her hopes.
I think you just said that it's been 16 or 17 years since you've actually seen Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Is there, since you're in the same room, do you know if you're ever going to see him again?
I don't know.
Is there anything you want to tell Mr. Johnson while you're here today?
Just sorry things worked out the way it did, man. I really am.
So, in sum, Mr. Howard, did Lamar Johnson kill Marcus Boyd?
No.
Who did?
Philip, me.
Thank you.
afternoon, Mr. Howard.
Counselor,
Yes, Judge.
always ask the judge for permission to inquire.
Thank you, Judge. May I inquire?
Not at the moment, I'm trying to clear up something.
Absolutely, Judge.
Go ahead, you may inquire.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Howard, you're about 5'6" tall, is that fair to say?
Yes,
Philip Campbell is about 5'8", would you agree with me?
probably so.
Lamar Johnson is, though, taller than both of you, correct?
Yes,
About 6 foot, 6'1". Is that fair to say?
yes,
Do you recall him driving a Delta 88 Oldsmobile in 1994?
yes,
Now, you previously testified that in October of 1994, you were occasionally living with your mother?
yes,
And that was at that 3944 Louisiana Avenue address, right?
yes, yes,
Now, the fastest route from your mother's house to Marcus Boyd's house is just walking down Louisiana Avenue, is that
yes,
right?
mm-hmm,
Now, you're currently living at South Central, is that right?
uh-huh,
And that's in Licking, Missouri?
mm-hmm.
And how long have you been at that location?
Since 2010 or 11.
You lived in other facilities prior to that,
Yes.
right? And even though you're in the Department of Corrections, you still have the ability to talk to Lamar Johnson if you wanted to, right?
Probably so.
Okay. And you previously testified that when you were with Stanford Morris, you received letters and
Yes.
you passed the message to Lamar Johnson.
Yes.
through him. So not uncommon in the Department of Corrections for people to send messages to others using kind of the grapevine. if you
No,
will.
no, it's not.
Not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon.
Back in 1994, you were a member of the Dark Side group. Is that correct?
Yes,
And that's a gang, right?
pretty much.
And that was a gang up by McCree? Is that?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So, and McCree's not where your mother lives in Louisiana?
no,
All right, different location.
yes,
Now, being part of a gang, it's not like a gym membership, right? Not everyone can join,
pretty much.
right? And that's because you want loyalty to be a part of a gang.
Yes.
And being a part of a gang, what sort of activities would you do?
Everything, just street things.
Street things like selling drugs,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And part of selling drugs, you have to do other activities like rob people, right?
yes, you can. I mean, it's not a requirement or nothing like that, but
Right. But in order to protect your business,
certain things happen, yes.
Right. Certain things happen to protect your business. And when you're doing those activities, you want to do that with people that you trust, right?
Of course,
And you're going to trust them with your life, right?
yes,
And not only with your life, you're going to trust them not to snitch on you. Is that true?
pretty much.
So you know these people through and through.
Yes,
And these are some people that you go way back, right?
yes,
And back in 1994, your Dark Side gang was in a turf war with another group. Is that correct?
yes.
And that other group also was called the Dark Side, right?
I mean, it was the same neighborhood, yes.
Say that again?
The same neighborhood, yes.
All right, so two
I mean,
gangs called Dark
it's
Side
not,
in the
it's
same
not two,
neighborhood?
they're not two different gangs. It's just the same people, just neighborhood split apart, pretty much.
The neighborhood was split apart?
Yes.
Between the two different
Yes,
Dark Side
yes,
factions?
yes, yes,
I see. Thank you for clarifying. So it's split.
yes,
I'm assuming then that there was some issue as to territory.
yes. It's a little bit of everything, yes. A little bit of everything, yes.
You guys fight each other over territory?
I mean, yes, we was shooting it out about stuff, yes.
I'm sorry, repeat that answer?
We was having shootouts about a lot of stuff, yes,
All right.
yes.
And that was going on from end of 1993 to 1994, correct?
I mean, a little later than that, yes, yes.
I'm sorry.
Probably a little later than that, yes.
Okay, a little later than that. But by October of 1994, the two Dark Side factions were in a turf war.
Yes.
And again, that was all the way up in McCree, though.
Mm-hmm.
And you called yourself the Dark Side in part because you wore dark clothing, right?
Yes, and the street lights, because we kept the neighborhood blacked out.
Okay, and that neighborhood was up in McCree, not
Yes.
Louisiana, right?
Yes.
Alright. In this gang, you also wore face masks were common?
No, not all the time. Just if you doing something wrong, yes, you got a face mask, yes.
Right, yeah, you're not walking around all the time.
Well, let me ask you a question that we should have gotten to already. Mr. Boyd, was he in one of these two games? Did you see that Mr. Boyd?
Mr. Boyd was in, not that I, no, not from,
You didn't know him to be in your game on the dark
no,
side?
no,
You didn't know him to be on the other
no,
dark side?
not that I know
So he wasn't involved in any of these turf battles,
of, not that I know of,
to
no,
your knowledge.
to my knowledge.
So why are we going so deep into it?
Thank you, Judge, and if I may inquire more, hopefully I can clarify.
We'll see where you go. All right.
Thank you. So the only way you knew Marcus Boyd was through, Mr. Spates, correct?
Yes,
And Mr. Spates went by Puppy.
yes,
Now Puppy was in your gang,
yes,
and, so you didn't know Marcus through Lamar Johnson?
no,
And you didn't know Marcus Boyd through Philip Campbell, right?
no.
Was Lamar Johnson in your gang?
Was he in my gang? Yes, he was part of me. Yes, he was my friend, so yes, I was, yes.
Yes, he was in your gang.
Hold on for just a second. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. And Stanford Morris, we've heard that name.
Yes,
He was in your gang too, right?
yes,
Some of these names we may not have heard of. I'm going to inquire with you now. Anthony Cooper, he was in your gang too.
yes,
Lamont McLean, he was in your gang, correct?
yes,
McLean. Philip Campbell.
yes,
And now when you're in a gang, sometimes you have a street name and nickname, right?
yes,
And we've already heard yours is B.A. Philip Campbell was Phil Bone.
yes, yes.
Lamont McLean, what was his nickname?
L.A.,
What
Say
did
that
that,
again?
L.A.,
what did that stand for?
just the abbreviation to his name, L.A. Mont, just the beginning of his name.
Anthony Cooper, what was his
L.A.
name?
Mont.
L.A. Mont, just because of the beginning
His
of his
name was Lamont?
Yes. The spelling of the name, L.A.
I got you.
M-O-N-E-T.
Anthony Cooper, what was his nickname?
Coop,
Stanford Morris, what was his street name or nickname?
Slim,
Swing,
Slim,
what did that stand for?
just was Slim.
What would he sling?
Slim, skinny, Slim,
Oh, thank you, sorry. And Lamar Johnson, what was his nickname?
Lamore.
Lamar didn't have a street name,
No, he ain't no street name, no.
but he was in your gang.
Yes,
Now, part of the reason to have a street name is so you're not using each other's name, right?
exactly.
But Lamar didn't have any protection from you all?
No, Coop didn't either. If we go in there, we call him Anthony Cooper, his whole name, so what are we doing?
But Mr. Spates went by Puffy.
Yes,
And Puffy on October 30th was in a neck brace, right?
he was in a neck brace, just had a halo taken off his head. I don't,
Because he was shot recently?
yes,
And you two were actually shot together, correct?
not at this moment, no.
Were you shot together on July 13th of 1994?
No, March 95 when he died. We was shot too, I take that back, on McCree and Lawrence. I can't recall when, but we was shot on McCree and Lawrence too together.
So you were shot in March,
Yes.
but you weren't shot in July with Cyrone Spates.
I don't know what month it was, but I remember we got shot on McCree and Lawrence, him in the arm and me in my thigh. And we went to St. Louis U.
And you were hit in your thigh, correct?
I think so, yes.
In your left leg?
Yes.
And you were rushed to the hospital in serious but stable condition, is
Yes,
that true?
yes.
How long did you have a limp from that leg?
A limp.
How long were you injured with that?
And I was out the same day.
Okay. But the reason Puffy couldn't go and confront Marcus was because he was in a neck brace, right?
Yes. This was months later. This is a whole nother time when he got shot. He got shot on D-Tony in his head.
There was a lot of shooting back and forth. In that.
Yes, it was.
And shooting at your gang, right?
Yes.
And then your gang returning fire.
Yes.
The other faction of Dark Side, that included Charles Reed, correct?
Yes.
That included Paul Neely.
Yes.
That included Marvell Reed, correct?
Yes.
That included Keith Boyd.
Yes.
Keith Boyd was actually murdered, wasn't he?
Keith Boyd, I believe so, I guess.
And the witnesses to that homicide were Paul Neely and Marvell Reed, isn't that right?
Yes.
And they were actually murdered 2 weeks before Marcus Boyd, isn't that right?
Correct.
Now, you were actually stopped as part of that investigation.
Yes.
And you were stopped with Lamar Johnson, correct?
Yes.
You two were in the car together?
Yes.
You were in his car?
Yes.
That Delta 88, right?
Yes.
And at that time, you actually denied being in the Dark Side gang, right?
I don't believe so. I mean, I can't never deny being in it when the police and everybody, detectives and everybody know who I am. So, I mean, I could tell you now I'm not a part of it, but we know what time it is.
So you've never denied that you were part of the Dark Side gang?
I don't believe so.
Now, Puffy's injury, how long was he in the neck brace?
He had a halo on for a few months, and then the halo got taken off, and then he had a neck brace on. Then he had a neck brace on for months, because he even went to the workhouse with the neck brace on. So, yes, he had that on for months, too. So.
Okay, months. But around October 30th, he wasn't in any condition to be confronting people, right?
Pretty much, no. Just the attitude he had, but no.
Was he pretty much just kind of housebound, not really getting out much?
No, he was getting out, but he just was stiff, meaning if he turned, he got to turn his whole body because his neck was, he ain't have full range of motion to his right or his left.
And you were concerned you didn't want him going and talking to Marcus?
No, I did not. That's my best friend, once again.
Because you knew that going to talk to Marcus could end in a confrontation?
Of course.
But Marcus wasn't violent to your knowledge, right?
Not to my knowledge, but if you approaching somebody,
you want to take everything you have, right? If you have a gun,
I'm gonna take precautions with everything I do.
Right.
Once again, I've been shot multiple times, man. I live life, man. So, like at times, I carry more than one gun.
And if you had two guns that night, you would have taken two.
I've had plenty of guns, but that night I just took one gun.
Right, but you took Philip Campbell.
Yes.
And Philip Campbell had a gun.
Yes.
Did Philip Campbell wear his own clothes when he went to Marcus Boyd's house?
No, he had some of mine. I believe he put on some of my jogging pants and a black hood out of my basement.
Where did Philip Campbell go after the Marcus Boyd homicide?
He left in the direction of Osage up towards Grand.
And when did he leave after the Marcus Boyd homicide?
I mean, I kind of cleared house before 11 o'clock, before everybody started showing up.
So he left right away?
Everybody left, not just right away, but as soon as we got to the house, had conversations, then everybody got to disperse.
Okay, but everyone dispersed before law enforcement got there?
Before my parents got there.
I see. But that night?
Yes.
Okay. Philip Campbell didn't wait days and days?
Mm-mm.
Now, you've actually signed three affidavits.
Yes.
3 affidavits.
Yes, I did, yes.
One was in 2002, right?
Yes.
One was in 2005, correct?
I guess, yes.
approach Judge.
You may.
I'm handing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit UU. Is that your 2002 affidavit?
Yes.
And at the top it says your name, right?
Yes, it does.
And it says being duly sworn upon my oath, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to turn the page. On the back, that's your signature, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And when you sign this document, you validated that everything in here was true and correct. Correct, right?
Yes. I know what we're getting at her. No, I said yes. I know where she's going with this.
Where I'm going is paragraph 3. Paragraph 3 states, Philip stayed at my house until the afternoon of November 3rd,
Right.
1994, when he stated he was going to catch the bus home. Is that what that says?
Right.
I'm now handing you what has been marked as TT. Is this your 2005
Yes.
affidavit?
Yes.
And that's your name at the top?
Exactly.
And it says being duly sworn upon my oath, is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm turning to the second page. That's your signature, correct?
Yes, it is.
And it's notarized?
Yes, it is.
In paragraph 3, it says the same thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Paragraph 3 says Philip stayed at my house until the afternoon of November 3rd, 1994.
Yes.
When he stated, I apologize, when he stated he was going to catch the bus home.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
Now, you previously testified that when you went to Marcus Boyd's home, you went down a back alley, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And when you went down the back alley, you approached the house from the gangway?
Yes.
To my knowledge, it doesn't have the exhibit number. I'm just holding it as a demonstrative. Would be a good idea to give it an exhibit number, however.
Yes, Judge, I believe we were informed this was 218, is that correct?
Yeah, 218 sounds right.
Exhibit 218?
We'll slap a sticker on it.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
And I believe I recall you testifying on direct and being shown, so that route is kind of back here, back in the alley to the house, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Now, you executed the third affidavit, which was in 2009, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Permission to approach, Judge.
You may.
I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit SS. That's your name at the top, correct?
Yes, it is.
And this affidavit says, first being duly sworn and upon my oath states as follows. Did I read that right?
Mm-hmm.
Turning to the second page, going to the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph. Do you see that paragraph?
Yes.
In your affidavit, you state, Campbell and I left my mom's house and walked north on Louisiana along the sidewalk on the same side of the street as Marcus Boyd's house. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, you read that correct, but that's wrong.
So you lied in this 2009 affidavit?
No, I didn't. Of course, I must didn't read it because that's not me. I didn't personally write that myself. Someone was writing while I was talking, and that's not correct. Why would I go down the street right down the street, straight to my parents' house after a crime. It doesn't make sense.
No, Mr. Howard, this is going to the murder.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. I'll be setting my house on fire, and I don't even use, and as I told the court, I don't use the front of my parents' house at all.
So, this affidavit is incorrect.
Yes, that paragraph is incorrect.
What else in this affidavit that you signed is incorrect?
To my knowledge, I know that's incorrect about going down the front of the house. I know that's not correct.
Okay, everything else in this affidavit that you executed is correct, though?
I mean, to my knowledge right now, yes, I told the truth in most of the stuff I said in her, man.
And most of the stuff you said in here,
Yes.
but you signed this affidavit with
Yes.
lies.
No. I didn't, and once again, I was just signing something to get it over with, get it done with. I did not proofread or go over any of these affidavits. I don't even know who wrote the first two affidavits.
You would have signed anything that was put in front of you, correct?
Yeah, if it was to help Lamar out, because I know he didn't commit this crime.
You
Yes.
would have done anything to help Lamar Johnson out.
Yeah, get out this situation because it had nothing to do with this.
That's your signature there,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
And that's Dean Grothhouse's
Yes.
signature?
Yes, it
Are
is.
you aware that Dean Grothhouse is an investigator for the Innocence Project?
I knew he was an investigator, but I didn't know he was an investigator for them too.
So your testimony today is that you didn't take that direct route like it says in your 2009 affidavit?
No, I did not.
You went back the alley?
Yes, and came back down now.
And came up that gangway?
Yes.
You were also wearing a mask when you committed this homicide. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
And what was that mask like? What material, I'll rephrase, what material was that mask made out of?
It's like black and polyester, uh,
So a thin material,
pretty much.
not woolen, not thick?
No.
You're confident about that?
Yeah, the mask I had was thin, yes.
Now this white guy that was on the front porch with Marcus,
Mhm.
you knew he would be there, correct?
Yes, somebody told us he was on the porch.
And that's because the two Cumming brothers,
Yes, yes.
they walked by that house, right?
They came down.
They saw Marcus?
Well, they didn't just walk by, they drove down.
Okay, thank you. They drove by the house, but they saw Marcus and this white guy on the
Yes.
front porch, right?
I guess so.
And they told you about that.
Yes.
Now, the white guy who was on that front porch, he was a pretty big guy.
Yes.
He's about 6 foot, 6
Yeah,
foot
a
1.
little over 6 feet, yes.
Bigger than both you and Philip Campbell.
Yes,
By quite a bit.
yes.
And even though you knew there was a larger male on the front porch, you
Yes.
decided this was a good time to approach Marcus.
I mean, shit, when we came around, it was what it was. Yes.
What do you mean by it was what it was?
I mean, we had guns, ma'am. It didn't matter who was on that porch. And as you see, it just didn't matter.
And despite you having guns, you still get into a scuffle with
Yes,
Marcus
'cause
Boyd.
didn't expect that to happen.
And you got so close to you got pretty close to Marcus Boyd, right?
Yes.
I mean, are we talking inches away?
I had my hands on them, so yes.
Inches away. And even though you're inches away, you're not sure you got any blood on you, is that correct?
That's correct.
That was your testimony during
Fact.
direct?
Yes.
You also testified during direct that shots were going at the same time. Did I hear that correctly?
I mean, once he fired, then yes, I fired. I guess could have. Once again,
I believe I wrote it down, and I wrote down that the judge asked you, both of you were shooting together. Do you remember that question?
No, I mean, I guess he said that, yes, okay.
And you said yes. Did I hear that correctly?
Okay, if that's what I said, then yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have an autopsy report in this case?
Judge, there was an autopsy report done, yes.
Can you isolate it for me and make sure I get it as an exhibit?
I am making a note of that, Judge, and we will do that. Permission to approach, Judge.
You may.
Thank you. I'm handing you back what has been marked SS. This again is the 2009 affidavit, is that correct? And this is the affidavit that some things are right and some things are lies, correct?
Of course, let's go.
I'm turning to the third page in the first paragraph. Do you see that?
It's about the top.
Did you say right at the top?
That's where you point at, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I'm going to read that. Then I thought, I apologize, scratch that. I apologize. I'm turning to the second page. And this says, almost immediately, Campbell reached down, placed his .25 pistol against the side, and fired off several shots into Marcus.
Right.
Your testimony today is that you were both shooting at the same time.
As soon as he started firing, yes, the gun I had it already cocked. And as soon as he started firing, my first shot went off, yes. So pretty much, yes.
And during this entire time, from when you get to the porch, when you're on the porch, and when you leave the porch, do you ever hear a woman scream?
I seen the shadow from the top of the steps, but to be honest with you, I was not paying attention that it was time. I was trying to get out of there. We was trying to go. It wasn't about seeing nobody or being seen. We was trying to get up out of there.
Affidavit, correct?
I think so.
And you were informed of that prior to your testimony here today, correct?
I know I was told of it.
And when you were told that, were Lamar Johnson's attorneys in that conversation with you?
No, I don't think so. Who was it?
You're represented in this case, is that correct?
Yes.
And what is your attorney's name?
I can't tell you. I didn't get the. Before I signed contracts, I didn't get. I didn't get everything back yet. I know it was by someone out of. I can't tell you. I can't call.
Were you aware that your attorney was on the board for the Innocence Project when they were investigating the Lamar Johnson case?
No.
You were not informed of that?
No.
Now you're positive that you took the clothes, Philip Campbell's as well, and washed them at your house, correct?
I'm quite sure, but man, it's been like damn near 30 years ago. I can't remember exactly everything. Only thing I can tell you is the whole facts, and the truth is, that's what happened, man. Is we went up there from the alley, came around the front, things got out of hand, got shot, we ran back down, and that was it. That's all I can tell you. That's what I can for sure tell you is that I shot him. I know what happened with that. That's all I can give you. The rest of this is I don't know where we're going with this. The very hard stuff I can recall for you, but the small, exact to the detail, I can't give you that. It's like I said, this is damn near 30 years ago. I can't give you everything. I can't, man.
One moment, Judge, I apologize. say you don't recall your attorney's name. Would John Ainsbury sound familiar?
Let me be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay. And during the homicide, when you approached, Marcus and the white guy were standing up, correct?
No, Marcus was sitting on the steps, and I believe the white guy jumped up immediately.
And where did the white guy go when he jumped up immediately?
To the right-hand corner of the porch.
But you remained on the porch?
Yes, he did.
And while on the porch, you're struggling with Marcus,
Right,
correct?
yes,
And after you're struggling with Marcus, Philip Campbell goes over to you, correct?
goes over to me. Yeah, he came to while I was wrestling with him, yes.
Okay, and the shots just start going off?
Yes, 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 yes.
Where does the white guy
He
go?
stayed a third to the right side of the corner of the porch.
Now, the Circuit Attorney's Office asked you if they had offered you anything in exchange for your testimony. Do you recall that?
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that you're serving a life sentence.
Yes,
But it's actually a little more than life, isn't it?
yes,
You were found guilty of murder in the first degree, correct?
yes,
And you received life without the possibility of parole.
yes,
And you were charged with armed criminal action, count 2, right? You received life on that one, correct?
okay, where are we going with this?
Did you receive life on the armed criminal action count?
Okay, so once again, I'm not getting out of prison, where are we going with this?
Did you,
Answer the question, please.
Yes, yes,
count 3 was robbery in the first degree, correct?
yes,
And you received 30 years on that count, right?
yes,
Count 4 was armed criminal action, correct?
yes,
You received 75 years on that.
yes,
Count 5 was burglary in the first degree, correct?
yes,
15 years for that one.
I guess, yes,
6 was another robbery first on that count, right?
yes,
30 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections for that count.
yes,
The 7th was armed criminal action, correct?
yes,
And that was 75 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections.
yes,
8, burglary, correct?
correct,
15 years in Missouri Department of Corrections.
yes,
9 was assault in the first degree, is that correct?
yes,
10 was armed criminal action again, correct?
yes,
75 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections for that one.
I guess,
And then you had 2 counts of forceful sodomy, is that correct?
yes,
Life on both of those counts.
yes,
And that, so life without the possibility of parole, 3 lives, and then if you do all the math, that's 345 years, is that correct?
correct,
And that was to run consecutively, is that correct?
I guess correct,
Are you guilty of that crime?
am I guilty of that crime? Yes.
That, what is the that?
I apologize, Judge.
Ask me how he died.
In case 22971-04189C, was that the case for all those counts I just read off?
I guess, ask me how did he die?
How you got it?
How did he die?
Well, I mean, I heard a lot of stuff there other than just the death. So maybe you should, when you say that crime, or
Thank you, Judge. I'll
might
clarify.
want to isolate a count or something like that?
On that case and all those counts, are you guilty?
Yes, and I held his head forward too when I cocked the gun and shot him in his head this exact same way twice in the back of his head.
And you actually took 4.
That's your,
I need you to repeat that again.
I'm trying to make something clear. It's a shit. If I'm gonna tell it all, man. It's a method to my madness, man. I mean, I killed him the exact same way. I fired 2 shots in the back of his head.
that's your thing, so to speak, your approach?
Yes,
How close is your gun to somebody's
I
head?
put it directly on it.
Say that again?
I put it directly on. I mean, skin, burrow the skin.
Oh, right up on it.
Yes,
And did the same thing occur with boys?
yes.
But again, you don't know if you got blood on you in the Marcus Boyd homicide.
No, that's why I put the clothes and I washed it to destroy the clothes. The devices, me just throwing them away that wouldn't, they would have my DNA on it or blood,
Anybody
whatever.
find that medical examiner's report yet? Could you coach, please? You may. Just give it to me, please.
I was gonna interrupt you.
I know how to read these. Thank you.
In this case, I just asked you, the over 345 years that you're
Yes.
currently serving,
Yes,
your judgment proof on that, right?
yes.
You lost all your appeals?
I mean, I really didn't try.
Really didn't try, so you lost all of them, right?
Yes,
There's no hope of you leaving the Missouri Department of Corrections.
not to my knowledge, unless the law was changed.
At the time of your sentencing, though, you told the court that you were innocent of those counts, correct?
Yes,
You said to the court that you were guilty of by association, is that right?
pretty much.
Hold on just a moment, Counsel. You may continue. The medical examiner is, movement by way of relatives exhibit number 65, and I have, received that. I'm assuming there's no objection to authenticity?
Regarding the autopsy report, Judge?
Correct. Dr. Graham did it, all right.
No further questions on behalf of the state, Judge.
All right. Any further, is there a redirect?
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. No sitting back right away, Deputy, because I'm leaving him subject to recall, in case I need to recall him. Get back to me on Wednesday as to whether or not we can send him back, all right?
Judge, I apologize.
Go ahead.
Could you issue an order if you want to keep him longer? I was just informed DOC only has him here for 1 day.
All right. So ordered. Deputies don't have any of it.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, we have another witness. Mr. Alty?
All right. You need a break? All right, let's call it for 10. Deputy Court be in recess for 10 minutes.
All right, Division 17, time set.
I'll probably just make a new exhibit. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, yeah.
Listen up, everybody. If you're not the press, if you're not the attorney on the case, please do not have your phones out. Please. When I take the phone, you won't get them back. I need a better phone than the one I have. Please do not put your phone. Appreciate it. Thank you. You see some attorneys up front with their phones on that case. Take them in my
You may all be seated. Solicitor, did you guys give me a witness list by any chance? I know there was a discussion of one being filed, but do you have your witness list available by any chance?
I will look for it.
All right. If you could have someone who's handling your next witness?
I'm having an actual.
All right, while he's doing that, if you can look for it. Go ahead, Mr. Weiss.
I'll tell our next witness. Here it comes. Bill, can you come over and be sworn in, please?
First, over here to be sworn.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Please give your name to the court before the
Counsel, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Elking, so speak up loud and not too fast so we can all hear you and the court reporter can take down your testimony, okay?
You got it.
Thank you, sir. Would you tell the court your full name, please?
James Gregory Elking,
Where do you live,
Just
sir?
spell your last name. I may have been writing it down wrong.
E-L-K-I-N-G.
Thank you. I thought it was Elkins. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Counsel.
Where do you live, sir?
Here in House Springs, Missouri.
Are you currently married?
No.
Are you currently employed? Do you have a job?
I'm self-employed.
What do you do?
I'm a construction worker.
Back in 1994, were you married?
Yes, sir.
What was your wife's name?
Kelly?
And did you have any children?
Yes, I did.
How many children did you
Two
have?
children. I had a son, Greg, and I had a daughter, Rachel.
Tell us a little bit about your education, sir. Did you go to high school here in St. Louis?
Yes, I did. I went to CBC High School out in Clayton, and went till around half of my junior year. It was like the winter break or the Christmas break that I dropped out.
Dropped out of CBC in your junior year?
Yes.
Okay, sir. And I gather your parents were getting divorced about that time, right?
Yes, they were.
And after you dropped out of CBC, did you move out of St. Louis for a while?
Yeah, they sent me to my grandparents where I was born in Hobart, Oklahoma.
Okay. How long did you stay down there?
I'm going to say from almost a year, 9 months or so, 9-10 months.
Did you come back to St. Louis then?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you live with?
At first, I lived with my stepfather, and it didn't work out so well. Going through the problems, a little bit, and wound up living with my mother.
Okay, sir. Were you working, or did you work after you got back from living with your grandmother and moved back to St. Louis?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your work history.
I've worked in warehouses. I've worked in printing companies. I've worked on cruise lines, and then I got into carpentry, construction, and I've been doing that on and off since I've been probably in my mid-20s, and still doing it today.
So before you got married to Kelly, did you work for cruise lines and Delta Cruise Lines also?
Yeah, it was called the Clipper Cruise Lines, and that one was based out of Clayton, and it was on the ocean, and I worked for them for a couple years. Then when I got done with them, I worked for Delta Queen Steamboat Company down in New Orleans on the paddle wheel boat up and down the Mississippi.
What kind of work did you do for these cruise lines?
I was a cook.
Okay, did you have any training to be a cook?
Yeah, they, Clippers sent me to Culinary Institute of America in Poughkeepsie, New York. When I would have my vacation time, you would work 3 months on and then get a month off, and I would like take 2 weeks out of my month and go to school there and get certificates for cooking.
What did your dad do?
My stepfather, which, you know, he adopted me when I was young, but he's my dad. He worked at McDonnell Douglas and retired from there.
Was he an electrical engineer out at Mac?
Yes, he was an electrical engineer, and he also was a electrician. He had his own company, Elking and Sons Electric.
Did your mother pass away in 1991?
Yes, he did.
And you got married after that?
Yes.
Did you get married in 1993?
Yes.
Okay. At any time before Marcus Boyd was killed, did you know Lamar Johnson?
No, I did not.
Did you live in Louisiana Street where the murder occurred?
No, I did not. I lived not far from there, a few blocks, but no, I never lived on Louisiana.
Did you know Marcus Boyd?
I knew Marcus through work, a temp service that I was going through at the time. Sent me to a work called Sayre Printing Company, and that's where I met Marcus.
Both of you guys worked there?
We both worked there.
You become acquaintances?
Yeah, we did. We wound up becoming, you know, friends at work, and we would share rides back and forth to work.
At that time, or in this time frame, did you use drugs?
Yes, sir.
Tell us, did you have an addiction?
Yeah, I was called a binge. I was a binge addict. I would, you know, with crack, cocaine, and, you know, pills, painkillers and stuff. But yeah, I kept on a job and, you know, tried to hold my marriage together as best I could. And but yes, I had a problem with crack.
Were you living on Bamberger Street at the time Marcus Boyd was killed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you learn that Marcus Boyd was selling drugs?
Yes, I did.
Crack cocaine?
Yes.
And did you ever buy drugs from Marcus Boyd?
Yes, I did.
Did you know Phil Campbell at that time?
No, I did not.
Did you know James Howard at that time?
No, I did not.
On October 30, 1994, in the night, did you go over to Marcus Boyd's house?
Yes.
When you got there, was anyone home?
No, when I first got there, I knocked on the door. I was dropped off by my brother. I was out at my brother's house, and my brother had dropped me off right at Grand in Chippewa, which if I made a left, I could go home. It was a couple blocks, but if I made a right, I could go to Marcus's. And I did, and it was a couple blocks from where I got dropped off, and I walked up there and knocked on the door, and no one answered.
Did you stay there or leave?
Well, as I was turning around from banging on the door for a few minutes, I turned around. He was coming down the street, and he was pulling up parking, and he was in a tracker, or looked like a little bitty Jeep. But I knew it wasn't his, and because I knew that car wouldn't. I had never rode in it, so. But when he pulled up, they got out the door. I was kind of like just looking at him, and then when they opened the door on the passenger side, which was his girlfriend, he yelled out, you know, what was I doing? What's up?
And so he was with his girlfriend?
Yeah, his girlfriend and his baby.
His girlfriend was Leslie Williams?
Yes.
Did you know Leslie?
Sorry, did you say his girlfriend and a baby? I didn't hear you correctly.
Yes, yes,
All right,
their baby.
So,
thank you.
so
Go ahead.
Marcus and Leslie had a small child, a baby,
Yeah.
right? And you knew that because you worked with him and
Right.
you went.
And I knew Leslie just, not well, but just enough that I knew it was his girlfriend and they had a baby, and I would say hello and I was cordial and she was cordial to me.
So after they got home, did they tell you just to wait, we're going to put the groceries away?
Yeah, he asked me what I was doing over there, and because it was late at night, and said I wanted to holler at him, and he said, all right, we'll give him a second, and he took his girlfriend and the baby and some few bags of groceries that looked like up the stairs to their apartment, and I waited out on the front porch for him until he came back down.
Let's describe, this was what, around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night?
That's kind of small, so I'll overrule you.
What time of the night was this?
It was late, yeah, I would say 8 or 9.
Were the street lights on?
The street lights were on, but their street lights were either broke out or there wasn't a lot on that street, but yeah, there were street lights were on.
You remember there was some light coming down the stairs, the screen door was closed.
That's a little bit on the leading side. Why don't you just ask him what he saw?
Tell me, was there a light coming from the apartment?
Yes, his upstairs apartment had a screen door on it, and the screen door, the biggest part, or the top part of it had a screen on it, and they left the door was open, and the light from the stairs going up there, that hallway, was still shining out on that front porch.
Okay, sir. What were you doing over there?
I went over there to ask him if I could buy some crack.
What did he tell you?
No, because I didn't have cash, and I asked him if he would front me some, and he said no. He didn't like me using, but I meant, he did sell to me, but he'd always try to encourage me not to, and especially it was the beginning of the week, and he knew we were going to go to work tomorrow, and he was just telling me no, he didn't have it, or he was low, and telling me no, but I was trying to be persistent, and so I stayed there and tried to talk him into it, and that's it.
You didn't get any drugs that night, did you?
No, I didn't.
I'm going to show you what has been the Circuit Attorney's Office Exhibit 59. So I'll walk over, hand it to you. Judge, may I walk over and hand it to you?
You may.
I think it's in your book, Your Honor. Exhibit 59. Tab 59. You guys have the book. Pardon? You want to buy a book? You give them a book? Anyway,
Hold that up for a minute, sir. All right. I have it. I had Exhibit 59
Thank you, Your Honor.
in front of me. Thank you.
can you tell me what Exhibit 59 is, sir?
That's the front porch of his residence, Marcus Boyd's residence.
That where you are? Were you there on the porch with Marcus Boyd?
Yeah, I was sitting on that top step facing the street, and there's his screen door with the stairs going up with he had the hall light, so that was the light that was out on the front porch. It was me and him.
So how long do you think you were there talking to Marcus?
Not long.
15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes at the most.
Given this photo, were you being interviewed by the police when this photo was taken, or were you gone?
I was gone.
All right.
So did you bring over an answering machine, telephone answering machine?
Yeah, from my brother's, from my mother's house after she died. He had some stuff of hers, and he wasn't using. And that night, I had brought home a bag of some stuff, and in there was it was a voice recording message machine. You know, a telephone. It also had a telephone on it back before beeper. Well, the beepers and stuff, but yeah, just a telephone recording answering machine.
Were you going to try to trade that for your drugs?
I asked him if he could use it, and he told me no.
So as you were sitting there on the porch that night, well, let me show you this first. This is Exhibit 61. That's the thing that goes again, the tab. Can you identify that for us?
Yeah, that's the front porch where I was sitting.
What's that?
That's the bag that I brought there that after I left it there.
That's what you were trying to trade for the drugs?
I did. I asked him if he could use it, and like I said, he told me no.
So here we are, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, dark street. You're sitting there talking to your friend, co-worker, Marcus Boyd. What happened?
I was sitting next to that right there. If you see that brick, that brick wall right there on the porch, I was sitting down on that first top step.
What's the number of the exhibit you're looking at, sir?
61.
All right.
There's also a 59, which may be...
Hold on. Show me your 61.
Here's my 61.
Okay, that's not quite the same as my 61.
Different to 61, Your Honor?
Yeah, maybe there's another
I'll give
picture
you-
up on it. Yeah, that is a different 61, Counselor.
Here's a copy.
Here's my 61. See that?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'll just go ahead and accept this as exhibit
Make a
CAO
61A.
exhibit 61B.
Okay.
Go ahead, Counselor.
So go ahead. I was sitting on that top step. Marcus was next to me, kind of in the middle of the stairs. You know, a person or so, you know, difference between me and him. And as I was sitting there, like I said, we were talking, and he was telling me, no, you know, why don't you go on home, and I'll see you tomorrow, you know, at work and everything. And at that time, two masked men come around the side of of his house, and when they came around, it startled me. And I remember Marcus first, because I was looking at Marcus, and I remember him getting startled or something, and kind of moving kind of fast. And when he did, I turned my head to look the way he was looking, and it was two masked gunmen coming around. And the reason I say gunmen, because as they were coming around, when I seen them, they were actually pulling back the slides of their gun, cocking their gun, and it startled me. And when it did, I remember the first guy that came around that was closest to me tells me, you know, puts his gun on me and says, "Get the fuck up." And he was kind of grabbing for me, and I remember the second guy that was the gunman kind of running past me, or on the side of me, just going on the side of me, and and I knew Marcus. I could just feel Marcus, you know, trying to get up and get away, and but the gunman that put his gun on me grabbed my arm in a way with his hand without the gun, and grabbed it and just told me to get the fuck up, and kind of just pulled me up a little bit, and I got up, and as I did, I went down the stairs, and I turned on the grass. If you see on 59, where I came down the stairs, and on the grass part, I kind of turned around there with my hands up in the air, and that gunman that had his gun on me was down on the ground level, and as I come around and spin around, I seen what appeared that second gunman and Marcus. They were struggling, and it looked like the guy was on top of Marcus, like Marcus never got up fully from being, sitting down with me. So I'm almost positive he was on his butt, and the other guy was kind of on his neck, and was on top of him. And then I remember the one guy, he had his gun on me, and I was focused on that because it was, I was scared to death, and I thought he was going to shoot me. And anyway, like I said, I seen the guy up there with Marcus. He put the gun on Marcus's, around his neck area and his shoulder area, and pulled the trigger, and that was the first shot. And from there, the guy that had his gun on me turned and put his gun up against Marcus's ribs and pulled the trigger, another shot. And and it, like I said, it was just surreal, and I could actually I could just see the flash of just going into his skin and lighting up his, the inside of his body almost. It was unreal. And they sat there and did that while I was with my hands up, and the guy that was on the ground floor that first told me to get up, he would just briefly pull his gun back, and while the other guy was shooting him and they kept putting the gun up on Marcus's body and shooting him. And then he would turn and just, put his gun on me, then go back and put his gun up on Marcus and shoot him. And then the last thing I remember was Marcus falling over backwards, and then the guy that was up on the porch, he fired 2 more shots that weren't on his body. And then I seen the actual flame come out of the gun, and a lot of shots. And they both came. The other one that was up there, he walked down, and they both put their gun on me, and I just remember them kind of chuckling, kind of snickering, like, they scared the shit out of me. And they just calmly put their guns down, turned around, and went back down that hallway walking. And when they did that, I turned and ran. Yeah, I guess they went to they just went back down that side like the way they came. And I turned instantly and took off, and I ran across the street down another alley because of the way that the streets were there. There was streets that were kind of coming into Louisiana, and I ran down an alley and then through a yard. And I remember going through a yard as I guess people had heard the shots, and some guy came out with a shotgun and put a shotgun on me, and and it was just, and I was like, a guy got murdered over there, and I just took off running, and I kept running and trying to zigzag in and out of alleys and different yards because I didn't know if they wanted to change their mind and come and get me and shoot me or what. So I got all the way home, and by the time I got home, my wife wasn't there yet with my kid, Greg, and so I ran into the house, and I was looking for her, and they weren't there. And then as I was coming out of the house, she was pulling up, and that's when I told my wife that I just witnessed a murder. Marcus just got shot a bunch of times. He's dead. I go, I don't know if these guys know where I live or anything. I said, why don't we pack some stuff and get out of here. So we threw a bag together, some diapers and stuff for the baby, and we took off and went to my sister's out in Lima.
So let's go back to the shooting.
Yeah.
Did you notice Leslie Williams, Marcus Boyd's girlfriend, coming down the steps?
No. No, I didn't notice it. I didn't even, like I said, I was just focused on what was happening in front of me.
Do you recall whether or not the assailants were wearing black or dark clothing?
They were wearing dark clothing.
Describe the mask for us.
The masks they were obviously dark, either very dark blue or black, and all they had was just, you couldn't see no mouth or no eyes, you couldn't see no lips, no nose, because that was all like sewed up or just the way the mask was, and all it was you could just see they had the eyes cut out like that, you know, and they were wearing dark clothing.
How long did this incident take place, the shooting?
I mean, it felt like 10 minutes to me, but it probably a couple seconds, you know, seconds, I'm sure.
So, Jonathan, could you get the Black Hawk jacket out for us, please? This has to do, Your Honor, with the discussion we had last week about the so-called jacket. And we were accused of concealing evidence.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Lawrence. Fair.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, what?
Ask him to describe the jacket before you move it from the
Witness has never seen the jacket. You can't describe it.
So then why are we taking it out?
I'm going to show it to him and see whether or not that was a jacket that he saw these people wearing the night they killed Marcus Boyd.
How could on one hand he didn't see the jacket and then tell me on the oath what he saw? He didn't see the jacket, he didn't see the jacket. Did you see the jacket?
I seen their clothing was dark clothing.
Okay, did you see a jacket on one of them?
Yeah, they were wearing something that apparently was either zipped or buttoned. They were wearing clothes, so I know that
What
they
color
had dark
was the
clothing.
jacket, if you can remember?
Black. It had to be either dark blue or dark black.
And that's all you remember, dark blue or dark?
Yeah. There was nothing that could distinguish it as anything else, but it was just dark clothing.
Leave the exhibit in the bag. You may continue with your next question.
I can't show him the exhibit, Your Honor.
For what purpose?
So they told you last week that they were going to show that he was wearing the jacket. My understanding was, and I'm trying to show you that he didn't see this jacket.
He just told me he didn't see it.
Okay, is that good enough?
All he gave me was, he said he saw a dark blue or black jacket. That's all he's got. All right.
Your Honor, okay, we'll go on. You didn't see anybody wearing a jacket with red sleeves, did you, sir?
No, I did not.
Or had a Black Hawk on the back of it?
No, I did not.
So I think you said when you got back to your house, told your wife what happened, you then moved out of your home on Bamberger and went to stay with your sister in Lima, right?
Yeah, we just vacated it. We left all our furniture and our belongings there besides what we took. And I went out to my sister's, and yes, we stayed there. We didn't leave for a while.
Did you go back to work at Sayers the next day?
No, I was working through a temp service, and so I never showed up at Sayre. I didn't know what to do. Now I was, kind of worried about, what what the cops were, you know, thinking. Why haven't I gotten a hold of them, or so, you know, and I was just, you know, worried that, you know, because I know Leslie was the last one to see me with her boyfriend Marcus, that, you know, it wasn't me, and but I was just, you know, I was still scared because I did not know if those guys knew me too, and so I just kind of went into hiding.
So, do you recall whether or not your sister received a call from Detective Nickerson of the St. Louis Police Department?
Yes, my wife at the time, she, I was out visiting my brother with a friend, and I had gotten a page. You know, we had beepers back then. I gotten a page, and I take that back. I'm sorry. I wasn't working at Sayre anymore, so I was working down at a place, Local 39. It's Decorators Union, and they hire people, you know, just for day, or, you know, day work or whatever. And so I was working for them, and I was down at like the convention center putting up, you know, working down there for Decorators Union, and I get this beep from my wife that's got 911 across it, and so I called her on my break, and she said, hey, she said, Joe Nickerson called out here, Detective Joe Nickerson. And, you know, the first thing I said, I was like, did you tell him that I didn't have nothing to do with Marcus, you know, getting killed? And you know, she was like, yeah, they're not even worried about that. They just want to know if you're all right. You know, did you get shot? You know, and you know, am I all right? And I was like, you know, all right. So she's like, look, you got to get a hold of them. You know, she goes, I got his number, and you have to get a hold of him. So when I got off work that day, I wound up getting a hold of Joe Nickerson.
What did you tell him, if you recall?
On the conversation of that, I just remember calling him and him asking me if he could talk to me, and I said yes, but you know, I'd like you to do it, you know, while I'm with my wife and everything, and why don't you guys, you know, we're going to go eat tonight at a place called Old Country Buffet, and I said, if you'd like, you can meet me there, and you know, talk to both of us, and he said he would, and he did.
So somewhere you met Detective Nickerson at the Country Buffet.
The Old Country Buffet.
Your wife was there.
Yes, and our son Greg. He was like a year old.
Would this have been around your telephone call that your wife got from Nickerson? You talked to Nickerson around November 2nd, and then the buffet was around November 3rd.
Yes, yes.
And let me ask you what happened at the Country Buffet. Were both you and your wife together at the table?
Yeah, me and my wife were sitting on one side of they had booths, and me and her was sitting on one side, and when he showed up, you couldn't miss him. He's a big guy. He looked like Nick Nolte in the first 48. I mean, he's just a big dude, you know. I was impressed by him, and he come up, and he sat across the table from us and sat down and started talking to me about what I seen and what happened, and was I okay, and everything like that.
Did he ask you if you could identify the shooters?
Yes, he, excuse me. Yeah, he asked me several times in that meeting, the first meeting, you know, if I could identify the shooters or if I knew them. And I told him from get-go that no, I never met any of Marcus's friends or anybody that he ran with or anything like that. And I did not know who the shooters were or even why it happened. All I know is that I was freaked out. I just witnessed an execution. I mean, you know, he got shot, you know, I thought he got shot like 12 times. And So, you know, to me, it was a straight execution and a planned murder. And
Stop there for just a moment. You said straight execution.
yeah,
How much time elapsed from when the two gunmen came up the steps to the moment they were shooting at Boyd, or shooting Boyd? How much time elapsed?
I don't know, seconds.
Did you hear anybody say, "Give me the money"?
No, no,
Did you hear anybody say, "We're going upstairs to the safe"?
no,
Did you hear anybody say, "You got any money in the safe"?
no.
Good.
Did Detective Joe Nickerson tell you that they thought that you knew who did it?
Yes, he did, and I told him no, I did not. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know any of Marcus's friends or anybody that he hung around with or who the shooters were. They had masks on. I couldn't see their faces, and from what I had seen at the murder, no, I did not know who they were.
Did he have some photographs with him and ask you to look at them?
Yeah, he had some Polaroids and asked me if I would look at them, and at first I was like, well, look, I keep telling you, you know, these guys got masks on. I don't know who they were, and plus I couldn't identify them. I don't know what these photos would be good for. And he said, hey, would you just do me a favor and just look at them anyway? And I said yes, and I appeased him, and I looked at them.
Did you tell him that one looked somewhat familiar?
As he would pull it off of the stack, he would lay a picture down and kind of slide it towards me, and me and my wife were looking at it. But I'd look at it and I'd say no, and then he slid one towards me, and I said, man, those eyes look familiar. And from that right there, he asked me, hey, would you sign the back of that? And I said, no, I ain't signing nothing. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying.
I'm a little curious when you say those eyes look familiar. Is that what you said? Those eyes look familiar?
I told Joe Nickerson when he slid that one forward, and I looked at it, I was like, man, those eyes look familiar.
Have you ever heard the phrase lazy eye before?
Yeah, I've heard of lazy eye.
Did you use that phrase in describing the person you saw?
I think at one time, I don't know if it was right then and there if I used it, but yeah, there was one point I think that what I was trying to say is that the eyes that I kind of remember in that mask, one had like a lazy eye or something, some kind of a difference. And that's kind of what, you know, I was saying, but like I said, I don't remember when I said lazy eye. I just, when they had asked me to identify him the best I could from what I saw when they got up on me, I just said that one of the eyes looked different than the other. I mean, because like I said, the mask they were wearing, you could see all of the eye, both eyes.
So one eye was, well, you tell me what you mean when you say lazy eye.
Just maybe lazy would be like one that would maybe not all the way open like most people's eyes are, or even a little disfigurement. Maybe, you know, the one is just, you know, something happened to it or something, but it was just different from the other eye.
All right.
And that's what I thought, or not thought, but that's what I, you know, told him I saw.
Were they close enough for you to ascertain skin pigment?
Well, I mean, they were close enough that they could put the gun on me right up on my chest.
How would you describe the skin pigment you saw on the eyes or around the eyes?
Dark in color.
Darker than me?
Say just as dark.
take it to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you tell him you were concerned that they may be coming after you?
Yes, I did.
Did he tell you that they could give you some protection?
Yeah, he also mentioned, because I was adamant that I didn't want nothing to do with this, and you know, I had a baby, and I had my wife, and my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and you know, I just told him, I said, I don't really want nothing to do with it, and I don't know who the shooters were. He just kept telling me, listen, man, if you're scared, we can help you out. We can, we can help you out with this victim's witness or protection, witness protection or whatever. When he first said it, it kind of sounded like, the mafia, witness protection, the way he was talking. It was just, and me and my wife were like, what, and I don't know. Yeah, it was, he said that, if I was that scared, to talk to him, or, to help put Marcus's killers away, that he could help with witness protection and stuff like that. So yeah.
At this point, period of time, in this second, what was your financial situation?
It wasn't good.
What do you mean by that?
My wife didn't work. After she had Gregory, she got pregnant with Rachel right afterwards, so she wasn't working, and my work was kind of jumping around, like I said, temp services, the local, where they just hire you for, the day or the week or whatever. So no, we didn't know. Our place, where we lived, where, we were behind on rent, we were behind on our bills.
How about your utility bills?
Utility bills, we were behind on those, threatening. I think maybe mine, in my name, was shut off, and then hers was getting ready to be shut off in her name. Yeah, it was just, our car was about ready to break down, and yeah, we just wasn't doing well financially, no.
Okay, so you leave the country buffet sometime in the afternoon?
Yeah.
November 3rd?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Went home. Went back to my sister's.
Okay. So later on that day, or evening, did you get a call to come down to the... Let me ask you this first. Did Nickerson ask you, would you come down? If we get a lineup, would you come down and look at the lineup?
Yeah, before we left the country buffet, Nickerson asked if he could have a word with me in private, because he could tell I was nervous, and and he just asked if he could have a word alone. So I said yeah. So I walked with him out of the country buffet. I left my wife and kid at the table. I told her I'd be right back, and I went outside, and Nickerson said, look, man, and that's when he brought up also again the witness protection. He's like, look, if you're scared, and everything, because the way he approached me, and he made me think that he thought I knew who they were, and I kept telling him no, I didn't. So he kept saying, well, look, man, if we were to go pick up these guys, would you come down and do a lineup? And and I was like, yeah, I'll come down and do a lineup. Knowing that it wasn't going to do any good, but I mean, the way he was kind of aggressive in the way that he talked to me, and he made me want to help, and and he's a cop, and I wanted to help, so he asked me if he when we were out there, he asked me, he said, hey, if I call you later, would you come down and do a lineup? And I told him yes.
Okay. So did he call you later that evening and ask you to come down and do a lineup?
Yes, he did.
Did he come out and pick you and your wife up?
Yes, he did. He came out and picked us up, and on the way down there, again, I was asking, you know, how dangerous are these guys and who are they? And he went to tell us that it was over, Marcus's death was over a drug deal that went bad. And, you know, so we kind of, we know who it is, and, you know, but we got to have, you know, we got to have somebody like you know, pick these guys out and put these guys away. You know, these guys are, you know, they're dangerous guys. And so we got down to the police station and I did the lineup.
Did he tell you that these guys that he believes committed the murder needed to get off the streets?
Yes.
So you went down, so he picked you up, you go down with your wife, with Kelly also?
Yeah, she was with us, and she wasn't there at the lineup. She was just up there in his office.
Well, how about the baby? Where was the baby?
Left with my sister.
So when you got down to the police station, did they have a lineup?
Yeah, they took me down an elevator to, like, I don't know, I guess it was part of the jail or something. I seen some jail cells down there and stuff, and some rooms and stuff. And anyway, yeah, when we got off the elevator, we walked over. There was some other detectives or whoever, law enforcement, were down there, and they had a lineup where I was going to look through a door where lights were shining on the individuals that I were going to look at.
How many individuals from the lineup originally?
There was 4 in each set that came in.
All right, keep going. Keep going. Describe what happened.
Okay.
No, do not. I want him to talk about what happened before you show him anything. Go ahead.
Okay, so we get down there, and you know, the first ones, you know, and I was like, they can't see me, and they was like, no, and you know, just go ahead and you know, see if you can pick them out, you know. And I was like, all right. So the first set came through, and I looked, and I couldn't pick anybody out. And they brought a second set in of different ones, and I couldn't pick nobody out in that one. And then they was like, well, okay, let's just take a break here. And Nickerson again just kept coming up to me and telling me, look, man, he goes, these guys can't see you.
Let me ask you a question. On both of these lineups, you didn't see this lazy eye thing that you saw earlier?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was looking for that. I was looking for those set of eyes, and no, I did not see them.
All right, keep going.
Okay, so Nickerson, you know, when we took a break, he was like, hey, you know, or one of them, I don't know what law enforcement, one of them said, hey, if we say, you know, if we have them say something, would that help you? You know, like, get the fuck up, what I heard the voice say to me, one of the shooters. And I said, yeah, we can try that. And they did that, and I still couldn't pick anybody out. You want me to go on?
No. There's a question on counselor's face, so
No,
you can
yeah.
ask it.
I'm just going to show them an exhibit, Your Honor.
You go right ahead.
Thank you. This is Exhibit 46, and it's in your book, Your Honor. Is that picture of the first lineup that you recall?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess it's the first lineup, yeah.
So everybody had dark clothing except for the one guy who has white, looks like white pants, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall that you looked at, you took about 2 or 3 passes at this lineup, first one.
Yeah.
And then on the third pass, you identified number 4. If we're looking at the picture from left to right, one of the tallest guys on the right, is he the guy you picked out?
Well, again, you know, they say I picked them out. All I said, if I had, you know, because I felt like they were pressuring me and that they were doing it. And again, you know, I wanted to help, and you know, they kept on me, and I said if I had to pick anybody out of that lineup, you know, if the murder's in there, if the murderer is in there, and I had to pick anybody out of there, I would say number 4 looks the closest of what I seen.
Did the people the assailants that shot Marcus Boyd, did they have white pants on?
No. No, they had dark clothing.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 47. This is the second lineup they showed you?
Again, yeah, if you say it's the second, yeah. I don't know which one the first and which one was the second.
I understand. It was a long time ago, but did you pick anybody out?
No.
Did any of the assailants, the shooters of Marcus Boyd, have any clothing like the one with the saints on it and the other, the white and black checked jacket?
No. They had completely dark clothing with no visible logo or anything that would identify the clothes they were wearing. It was just completely dark.
Let me ask you a question. Turn back, if you will, to Exhibit 46. Did
46?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Did any one of those 4 have clothing that appeared to you to be exactly like the clothing of the assailants?
And I guess it would be because number 4, yeah, I guess, all black.
And that's where you settled?
Feeling pressured and wanting to help, you know. Yeah, and again, I did not pick that guy out and say that's who did it.
Right.
I said if I had to pick anybody, if the murderer's in there and I had to pick anybody out of there, I would say that the number 4 would be the closest to what I seen.
All right.
So, Mr. Elking, when you didn't really positively identify anybody in these 2 lineups, what happened? Did Nickerson take you someplace?
Yeah, we were going back up to his office, and we went to the elevator, just me and him, and I could tell he was a little, you know, he was a little let down, or I'm not going to say agitated or anything. I could just tell he was let down, you know. And we get on the elevator, and he goes, I know you know who it is, and you're just not saying. He goes, you're scared. And I remember him just facing me and saying, look, I'm telling you, man, we can, you know, got to get these guys off. And, you know, and he goes, and I could tell you knew who it was, the way you were looking at some of those guys, or, you know, when they would have them step forward or whatever. And me wanting to help, and this is the part I hate the most. I hate talking about it. I hate telling it. But I just remember saying to him, you tell me the numbers and I'll tell you if you're right. And he did. He said 4 and 3, or 3 and 4. And I was like, that was it. That was the numbers. And that's how it went.
Do you feel, looking back on it, that the clothing of number 4 influenced your decision?
No. No, Your Honor. I wanted to help. All right, I just seen a guy get murdered. It was a friend of mine. Law enforcement was wanting me to help, and I trusted them. I trusted Joe Nickerson. I trusted everybody down there at that point that was trying to solve this murder. I wanted to help, and the way they were on me, and there was times that we haven't discussed, there were times that other detectives would make me feel like if I was not to help, and stop being scared and help, that I could almost be an accessory to this, like I could be charged with this because I brought Marcus out on the porch where he got killed. And so not only was I being bullied, and I felt like, you know, and then I wanted to help, you know, I wanted to help. And this is how this whole thing happened. And I hate it, and I've been living with it for 30, 25, 28 years, and I'm telling you, I just wish I could change time.
Now, you did testify at trial, right? You testified at Lamar Johnson's trial. Picked him out in the courtroom, right, by pointing your finger at that person sitting over there, right, sir?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. But this has caused you traumatic emotion.
Your Honor, I would check the legal.
I'll withdraw it. I'll withdraw it. Are you here today to try to right this wrong that you committed?
Absolutely.
So, did Nickerson tell you, so now you've identified 3 and 4 in these 2 lineups, and he told you that one was Marcus Boyd, the other was Bill Campbell. Did he tell you that he was going to pick you up the next morning and meet with the chief warrant officer?
Yes, the prosecutor, Dwight Warren.
Yeah, so now we're in late in the evening on November 3rd when all this probably takes place, and you finally pick out 3 and 4. He's telling me what time he's going to pick you up.
I don't remember.
8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, it was early.
Did he drive out the next morning and pick you up?
Yeah, he did.
Pick your wife up too?
Yeah.
Maybe stay your sister.
Yes, sir.
We brought you down to, I don't know if the Circuit Attorney's office was here in '94 or not, but for the Circuit Attorney's office, right?
Yes.
Did you meet with Dwight Warren?
Yes, I did.
Did Mr. Nickerson basically recite what the evidence was that you could identify these 2 people, correct?
Yeah, Nickerson talked to Dwight Warren and explained it and told him that I was scared and that I did not want to pick him out down there in front of everybody. He said, and then privately he told me who they were, the numbers of the shooters in the elevator in private. And
you agree?
would that be yeah? And Dwight said, "Is that true?" And I told him, "Yes, it is."
And so you left Dwight Warren's office. Where did you go then?
Straight over to the witness protection office.
And whom did you meet with?
It was a lady that was working in there, and she talked to us about helping us find an apartment out of the city, and that she could, you know, that she could help with the first month rent and the deposit and all that, and then even help us get some furniture and stuff like that. Also said that they could help with, do we need groceries and stuff like that, and we did, and we were financially just broke, and so she said she could help with that too. And I remember leaving out of there that day with a check or cash. I think it might have even been cash that they gave us after that first visit. Yeah.
You walked out with about $250 that same morning.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yes.
And then did you move out of the apartment that you had on Bamber and move somewhere else?
Yeah, we put stuff in storage, which they paid for until we found a place to live. And
when you say they, I'm sure you mean the prosecutor?
the witness protection office. And so when we found the house for rent, it was out there by Vida and Lime, just a couple blocks away from my sister. It was out of the city, and that's where they helped us get in there.
You moved out of the city to the county.
Yes.
So were the prosecution continuing to pay for your rent and utilities and things like that up to the time you testified in July 11th and 12th of 1994?
Yes, sir, they did.
And did the payments then stop?
After the first trial, yeah, the payments stopped, and I kind of just, they never got a hold of us again after that. But we moved. Me and my wife at that time were having problems. I was getting ready. Me and her were getting ready to separate, and yeah, there's just a lot going on then, and we were moving around.
Those are not issues I'm concerned about, but I was waiting to see if you would go to it.
Sure, go ahead and ask a question.
At the moment in the trial, when the prosecutor asked you to identify the person that you saw shoot and kill Mr. Boyd, all right? Did you look around the courtroom to see if you could see the person?
Honor, I couldn't answer that honestly because I don't remember if I did or if I didn't.
Because evidently on the record, am I correct, he identified somebody while he was at trial.
You identified somebody in the courtroom, Mr. Lamar Johnson.
I'm just trying to see what got you to Lamar Johnson sitting there in the courtroom. Did you look around? Did you lock right on him? How did that
No, he's the only one. He was the only defendant at the table. I knew the other ones were lawyers, so when they said, can you point out, who the murderer was, it wasn't hard to do that. It was, the guy sitting at the defense table.
All right.
Let's go to the day of they bring you down to the courthouse, you're going to go in and testify, right?
Yes.
Remember being put in a little visitor's room with people in there?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that, please.
They had brought Marcus's girlfriend and his mother into me, and they were crying, of course, and I hadn't seen them since before that murder. Had not seen or spoke to them, and they asked me to please do the right thing. They knew I was nervous, and they were like, go in there and put them away, or just and they were crying, and again, it's one of those where I just felt like I wanted to help, and I wanted to, I just wanted to help. I wanted to put a murderer away. And I believed, you guys got to understand that when these detectives talked to me, they made it very clear that they knew exactly who it was and that I was doing the right thing, and no matter if I doubted it or not, it was the truth and I was doing the right thing. And that's how it went.
Well, you did testify. And there's two people, there's two shooters, right? That you
Yeah.
saw. One was Phil Campbell, whom you didn't know, I gather, did you?
No.
Do you remember whether or not you testified at his trial?
No, I did not. After the first trial, like I said, me and my wife moved away from Vida. We were, again, going through, getting ready to separate, and we were, again, just not doing well financially, and we were jumping around apartment, and so we didn't have phone numbers that they could reach us at either, but they didn't try to call my sister or my brother or anything like that to you know, to track me down to get me to testify in the second one.
Did you learn did you learn whether or not there was a trial?
No, I was so disgusted with the first one and what I did that I didn't, again, I just wanted this all to go away.
Now, after this occasion on November the 3rd, 1994, when you told Detective Nickerson it was 3 and 4 in the 2 lineups, between then and the trial, were you driving and picked up by a police officer?
Yeah, I had gotten pulled over by a police officer, and he was writing me out tickets, and I think I had some warrants out on traffic tickets, and I asked him if he would call Joe Nickerson, and yeah, so that he wouldn't arrest me and take me down to the jail because, you know, that I was a star witness in a murder case, and the murderers were down there, and I didn't, you know, would he do that? And he did, and he did. He wound up not arresting me and wrote me some tickets and told me to, you know, get my traffic tickets and warrants taken care of, and he was doing a favor for Joe Nickerson, and that I was lucky. And by the time I got home, when I got home, I wound up calling Dwight Warren's office, and I talked to one of his secretaries, which was a male, and he took care of all my tickets and my warrants and everything, and told me not to get any more, and to be careful driving.
So the tickets that were stacking up were taken care of.
Yeah, they were all taken care
You
of.
did not lose your license.
No,
You did not have to go to jail.
no.
You went to prison for something in October 1998, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I separated from my wife in, I don't know, late 97 and then early 98. We separated, and I got mental health issues anyway, and, you know, with the murder and everything that went on, and what I did, you know, lying about me seeing the shooters and who they were and everything. No, I was messed up. I was messed up, and I told you I was already a binge addict, and I became a full drug addict when my wife and me separated, and I lived in state parks in a tent for about 6 months, and you know, I drugged every day, boosted from, you know, mall stores and stuff like that for drug money to live.
I stopped you because I didn't know what boosted was.
Boosting means stealing stuff out of stores.
What exactly were you convicted of that year?
Bank robbery.
Bank robbery?
Bank robbery.
All right, federal? What did you get? A federal charge?
Feds and state both charged me.
Tell the judge what you did with respect to the banks.
I imagine he robbed one.
Robbed 4
I
banks.
mean, you know, not hard for me to get there. You know?
4 banks in 7 days.
All right. You wouldn't, no, that's why I asked him exactly what the conviction was. Your objection was a little on the late side. But the conviction was 4 counts of bank robbery. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Is that right, mister?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep going.
So tell the judge what happened after you were arrested for robbing these banks.
Hold it, Pete. Did you go to trial?
No, I pled guilty.
4 counts of bank robbery. Move on.
How many years did you get?
I got 12 years in the state. It was Class A 85%, which I had to do 85% of my time before I was eligible for parole. The feds gave me like 71 months for each bank robbery and ran a concurrent with the state. And when I got out, I was going to be on federal parole or federal supervised release and state parole if I got out on the 85%, which I did. But yeah, I went to prison for 10 years, 2 months, and 14 days, the first one.
Were you in prison in 2003? And
Yes.
where were you? What prison were you in?
I was at the old walls called Jefferson City Correctional Center.
While you were in prison, did you write any letters to anyone?
Yes.
Explaining that, in fact, you were mistaken, or you lied, did not positively identify Mr. Lamar Johnson, and you were sorry about that?
Yeah, after I went to prison,
Could you just show him the letters so he can authenticate his?
There's a bunch of letters, Your Honor. Yeah.
Well, give them all to him.
I can
It
give them
shouldn't
all,
take
but-
him that long to authenticate.
No, it shouldn't take long to authenticate, but it takes long to read it, and...
Well, we're not worried about reading it right now. I can read. I just need to authenticate.
Okay. I think these records are all in the books. I'm going to hand you Exhibit 10. This Exhibit 10, Your Honor, you'll see is a custodian records affidavit signed by Bruce Calkins on the 5th day of December 2011. And there's 2 letters in it. One from Mr. Bromwell to Reverend Larry Rice, and then it also has a letter from Mr. Elkin in it, dated July 12, 2003. First of all, just look at the letter that you wrote to Larry Rice, or to whom it concerns. Is that your letter? Is that an authentic letter? Did you write it?
Yes, that's my handwriting. And yes, I did send this to Larry Rice.
Next, hand you Exhibit 32. This is a letter that starts out, "You should know that I am doing everything possible to prove my innocence in Marcus's murder," and it's from Lamar Johnson, Southeast Correctional Center. There's not a date on it. Did you receive that letter, sir?
Yeah, shortly after I mailed this to Larry Rice, I had gotten clean and sober in there and everything, and I was trying to right this wrong that had been haunting me, mentally for years already, and so I wanted to write somebody and get it off my chest, and I thought writing Larry Rice, and when I did, I found this on my bed when I came back to my cell one day, and it was Lamar Johnson, the guy I put in prison, and or that I testified against. I didn't put him, but I testified against him, and it scared the shit out of me at first. Yeah.
So somebody
Sorry.
sent Exhibit 32 you found on your bed. You knew after you read the letter it was from Lamar Johnson, right?
Yes, I did.
I guess you were concerned. How did he know?
Well, Mr. Counselor, is it your intention to go over the contents of this letter during this direct examination?
I would like to, Your Honor.
All right, well, it's 5, so I'm going to go ahead and recess this until tomorrow.
That's fine, Your Honor.
I'm going to instruct you, sir. I'm going to instruct you not to take any calls from anyone about this. You're not to talk to the press. You're not to talk to your ex-wife, your mama, your kids, your closest friends, no one about this case until tomorrow morning when you're asked a question. Make sure you're back here at 10 a.m. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You got that?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's a few faces I've seen here and there, people I recognize. You see me on the street, don't talk to me. Don't say a word to me. Don't even say hi. Any friendship we have today will be here next week. Until then, don't speak to me at all for any reason whatsoever. I think I've admonished everyone that I need to admonish appropriately. Bailey, recess tomorrow, 10 a.m.
All right, recess.